when I feel like nothing. Always feel like I'm running. Both feel we're living worlds apart. It's fucked now, we lost in limbo. Remembering what you said though, and I asked you if we'd make it far. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. I trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be. Then she said no, 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 no. No, 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 you should. I've earned the cost and now I've paid it. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, please don't go. I know my face a memory erasing. Been a few years since I heard your voice, yeah. Lost a few here, but it's not by choice, no. Girl, I see your face every day when I look through my phone. Can't delete all these memories, won't leave me alone. Hit my blind side, never saw you coming. You were so wild, both know I was nothing. And I'm nothing now, nothing's changed, you know I'm just the same. Miss you now, but I hope that someday you explain. That one last kiss that they write about, my one last wish you could never doubt. I trust angels who fly away from you, and you told me that we'd never die. Gave me so many reasons why we were meant to be.
Well, hello, sinners. How's everyone doing? Hope you are well. Good to see everyone. Thank you so much. Hold on, where's that? Hope everyone is well. Good to see you all. I got my board working again. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Got a lot to talk about. We are going to be talking about Stephen Smith. I think we're so close to justice. Finally, yes, sinners. And you know something? Tonight, Miss Daisy may come out, or Miss Sherry. We never know. Just depends. We'll see if she can make an appearance tonight, a grand appearance. So we'll see. How's everybody doing on this Sunday? Is it Palm Sunday? Is that what it is? I think so, right? It's close. Happy Sunday. Yes, Gina. Gina's, oh my God. You are blessed. Aren't we blessed? We're all very much blessed. Very much so. So, Stephen Smith, they have exhumed him. Oh, I'm jealous, Key. You've been working in your greenhouse. I worked a little bit yesterday in mine, trying to get things together so I can do some videos on that. But yes, okay, I get distracted easily. So they have exhumed Stephen Smith, and there was two names that was mentioned in the very beginning. Why? Maybe they have something to do with it, but now investigators are saying that Stephen Smith, or that there is persons of interest in Stephen Smith's murders, and they have been there since the beginning. But now we're just hearing their names a little bit more, and we're going to talk about that. But the thing is, the Murdochs have always been included in these names. Now, do we know that they had anything to do with this? No, we don't. We don't. But we also have to remember when Maggie and Paul were killed, why did they reopen that case? Why did they reopen Stephen's case after Maggie and Paul was murdered? That is the question. So we've got the Murdochs, and we've got two names that I'm going to tell you in a moment. But first, I want to talk about the Stephen being exhumed. I've missed you, Dreamcatcher. I haven't really been streaming a lot lately. I've been so busy with things in my, real life. It's been absolutely insane. Uh, Work and kids and karate and piano and uh, being sick and everything. Buster was a friend of Steven's, right? I wouldn't say a friend, Denise. He wasn't necessarily a friend of Steven's, but they knew each other. Steven tutored Buster. And I mean, I guess they were friends. Yeah, they were friends, but they weren't like hanging out friends. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe privately they hung out, but that doesn't mean, they were like friends socially with a bunch of friends together, to be quite honest. So, yes, it's been a crazy Dreamcatcher dream. It really has. Okay. So, first we're going to talk about Stephen being exhumed. And let me find this article. And I'm going to show you two faces that, people are talking about these people. That's all I'm going to say. People are talking. If I can. Now, I want to give you guys kind of like a trigger warning, because these things that we're talking about are sensitive, and you just need to know about it. So, and that thing will dismiss. So this is an actual photo of where they exhumed Stephen Smith. Exhumed 8 years. This is an 8-year-old case after hit and run death, called now is a homicide probe. They are now calling this a murder, and it was a murder, in my opinion. And you can see this is actually Stephen Smith's headstone over here. And sadly, there's small, I guess there are other children in this area. So, Deputy Coroner on the case has previously ruled the cause of Stephen Smith's death as a hit and run. Questions surround the hit and run determined, uh, they've been questioning this for years. Stephen reportedly suffered a gash in his head that some experts believe may have been from a bullet or a blunt object, and there were allegedly no other injuries noted below the torso of the teen. Some say that the injuries, therefore, strange if they were to be the cause of a car accident, leading many to suggest that Stephen's case should be a homicide investigation. it is a homicide investigation. Police have made that extremely clear now. So let's talk about Stephen's injuries. Now, I have seen the unredacted photos, and he is virtually from virtually the neck down. There's nothing to suggest that he was hit by a car. There's nothing. There's no. He wasn't knocked out of his shoes. And when they say loosely fit shoes, they were loose. Like they weren't even tied loose, and he wasn't knocked out of those. He certainly his all of his clothes, none of them were ripped or anything. There is photos out there of just his clothes, pictures of his clothes after they've taken the clothes off of him. No tears, no thing. But where there is a injury is on his head. And in my opinion, it's just my opinion, uh, I think something happened right in that road where Stephen was found, because the way the stuff came out of his head, I mean, you can just see it all around in the unredacted photos, and it, like, it's, when you have obviously you have a pulse, you bleed, right? And after you die, you don't bleed anymore, and you can just tell that there's this pool of fluids around him. And I believe that something happened right there. He would have had road rash, absolutely, Big O Mom. There was no road rash. There was like some scrape, I think a scrape on his arm. Um, thank you, BC Proud. You're very kind, honey. Um, so yeah, we're gonna go back. We're gonna listen to some of the very first interviews in a moment. Very first, in just a moment. Okay, this thing will not dismiss. So they are doing a private autopsy on Stephen Smith. Can't say I blame him. Uh, and hopefully they can get answers. $118,000 was raised for the GoFundMe to exhume Stephen Smith, uh, and there was only a $15,000 goal. So thank you all who donated for the cause, because Stephen deserves justice. His family deserves justice. The community deserves justice. So thank you if you were able to donate. So it says, we feel it's critical to seek a new goal for an independent uh, ex to be independently exhumed autopsy and investigation, and we're launching hashtag Justice for Stephen with the immediate goal in mind. So we need a new unbiased look at his body and an accurate to determine his cause of death based on these facts. There was no debris in the road, and his injuries were not consistent with a hit and run. As any investigator, you go off the evidence. There was no evidence to point toward there being a hit and run or a vehicle being involved in it. He told the news outlets in 2021 it looked like it was more staged, like possibly the body had been placed in the roadway. Um, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Okie Crown News. Very kind of you. Yes, Exhumed Friday, Quinny. Good to see you. So now I want to go over to Fitz News. I really recommend looking on Fitz News for anything Murdaugh because they are locals and they have been on this case since day number uno. So, but I want to go over here you go. 1 second. Here we go. So this is where Stephen was literally found in the road in 2015. You can see where they have outlined it, and they have actually cleaned it up, but you can still see, biological fluids have been there. And I gave you guys the wrong one. 2 seconds. Thank you, Julies. Thank you so much for your support, my love. I appreciate all of you that subscribe and support me. It really means the world to me. Thank you. I hope this one's it. Okay, here's Stephen Smith and his twin sister, by the way. I don't know if you can see her. Can you imagine? I mean, they're twins. So this is the first interview that detectives done. Actually, I want to go to I think David, your Marks. Which one is Marks? 2 seconds. Okay, let's go to Sandy's first interview, and I want you. Did Buster pay someone to do it? I don't think this was. I think this was a crime of opportunity, in my opinion. I don't think this was pre-planned, my opinion only. You can have yours, but I feel like this was. I mean, first of all, how would we know that he was going to run out of gas, right? But Stephen had talked to what some would call his boyfriend that night, and he said that 2 men at one of the stores was bugging, kind of, harassing him more or less. And so we need to remember 2 men. 2 men. Just keep that in mind. This is Fitz News. I will drop the I do have it in the description below as well. Anything there. And here is the I have to look at your website for the tip jar. Thank you. Oh, thank you, BC. Thank you, my sweetheart. I appreciate you. All right, now let's listen to this.
Corporal Doctor, South Carolina Highway Patrol, Mate, Post C. Case number on this will be CL-062-15. Today's date will be July the 17th, 2015. I'm attempting to call the victim's mother at this phone number of 803.
So you're going to hear
again, it's 803. I am going to attempt to do an interview by phone. Yes, ma'am. This is Corporal Duncan with South Carolina Highway Patrol.
Yes, sir.
Is this Sandy?
Yes, it is.
I am calling you in reference to your son.
Yes.
I've got just a couple of questions for you. If you've got just a few minutes, can I talk to you?
I do. I'm coming in back in now. If I lose you, just call me back.
That's fine. I'm the same way. I'm in and out where I'm going to. The couple of things that I wanted to ask you about. One of them are you're his mother, and you may know some of the questions that I need answered to. And then again, you may not. I don't know how much he confided in you with things or anything like that. But now, from my understanding, you're living in. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give me that address? Okay. And now, from my understanding, I talked to with the sister this morning, but from my understanding, he was living with his dad at the time, but visiting you periodically. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. As far as his phone, did he have a pass lock on his phone?
Yes, they had a thumbprint.
All right. And usually there's a secondary way to get into that phone. Do you know a secondary way to get into that phone?
Well, he had my thumbprint in there also.
Okay. So if need be, I could get it unlocked that way. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the reason why I'm asking this, we've got the actual phone, but because there's a passcode on there, sometimes even with the software, it may damage stuff that we need. And and on that phone is the last thing or last information that what he was doing, from my understanding, from some of the from the people that.
And also, I wanted to bring to your attention that Mark did whatever. Mark.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
He told me Saturday that his thumbprint was in that phone also.
So his thumbprint was in that phone as well.
That's what he said.
Okay, and now.
I wonder if that's true, if Mark's thumbprint was in there. Now, Mark is, you could say, Steven's boyfriend. He's an older gentleman. But I wonder if that was true or not. I mean, I mean, I don't think anyone would lie specifically about that, would they?
Has he contacted you? Has Mark contacted you other than at the wake? Has he called you or anything like that?
He's been following me around when I come to him.
And when you say following around, what do you mean by following around?
When I go in, I went in jail. He was standing over there at the side staring at me. I went to the emergency room. I took my daughter to the emergency room, and he was circling the parking lot and stuff. It just so happened two of my friends, my daughter's friends, they stayed with me and followed me home. But yeah, he's when I go into a store, he's right there.
Okay. Do you know? Have you ever met him prior to that?
I never met him until that Saturday.
Now let me ask you this: did your son ever talk about Mark at all to you?
Never.
Okay. And
the only people he talked about was he was hanging around the guy named Cash.
Oh, wow.
That was really his only friends in him.
What was his name?
But then I did.
Now, we have to remember this is in 2015. Do you guys think that do you think Sandy, I mean, she's virtually saying that he's, kind of following her, right? So, I mean, why would he be doing that? Or did he want to just tell her something and he just didn't have the nerve to say it? I mean, that could be a possibility as well, potentially.
Hear that Stephen did go to the beach with this guy.
Okay.
Where Stephen had sprained his ankle at.
And now let me ask you, do you remember when he sprained his ankle?
They went to Hilton Head Beach.
But do you remember when he sprained his ankle?
What the guy told me.
Okay.
And we know he went to the beach, but we didn't know when.
Did you now? You talked about the sprained ankle. Do you recall when what month he sprung that ankle?
Say that again.
What month that he hurt his ankle? Do you remember what month that was?
It was Stephanie would know more than I do on that one.
Well, let me ask you this: was it around his birthday, after, before? Do you even remember?
I think it was after his birthday.
Okay, all right. And as far as has Stephen the past couple of weeks, has he talked to you about anything that he may have been doing, whether it be legal or illegal? It does not matter at this point. I'm more concerned about his death and what he was doing, whether it's legal or illegal.
Right. No, I know he wasn't doing anything illegal, but he was hanging out at Bobcat Landing.
Okay.
After school. And when he didn't, I thought it was strange that Stephen was coming to my house every day. He didn't come to my house every day until lately. He came every afternoon, and I was fussing at him because he only had a permit.
Right.
And he had to leave Orangeburg and go down 70 to get to my house. And I told him 70 was a very dangerous road. But he would stay at my house. He was a study person. He studied. But he would come to my house and stay there until about 1 o'clock in the morning before he would go home.
Okay.
And he would take the back road home.
And the back.
I don't know if he was avoiding Hampton or what.
Okay. All right. And over the past couple of weeks, did you notice anything strange about his actions, or anything that seemed to be bothering him? Anything that you just feel like that as a mother, you get that mother's intuition that there was something bothering him, or that he was having any.
Him coming to my house, that was strange, and him not studying like he normally did.
And would you?
He even didn't go to school. He played hooky for school, and he never missed school.
So do you think someone could have threatened him? Do you feel like maybe someone at school was threatening him? I mean, is it possible that even allegedly, like, Buster paying someone to harass him, maybe Stephen told something that Buster and him may have done privately, and Buster caught wind of it, and he was going to make sure he paid for it. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, being, a gay young man in school in the South, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But nonetheless, Stephen lived his best life. God bless him for the short time he got to live it.
So
It started on a Wednesday. I can go back and try to remember what date.
Well, was it within the past couple of weeks? Had really started?
Yes.
Okay. So that's something that you felt like was odd that he was doing.
Right, because I asked him, I was like,
So, Jesse, that's the thing that confuses me as well. Jesse says definitely could be. I just don't think Buster is involved. And this is the thing. We've got two names that I'm going to share with you guys in a moment, and photos that came up in this investigation. But why does the Murdaugh name keep coming up? Why when Maggie and Paul died, shortly after the Murdaugh name, well, it didn't come up. They just said, hey, because these two murders happened, we are now opening up another case in 2015, from 2015, the death of Stevens. So why? Like, the other two that, are suspects, why is the Murdaugh name still coming up? That is the question, and I don't know the answer.
Son, don't you have to go to school? And he didn't. And as a matter of fact, if we get his phone unlocked, the day that he took pictures in my jacuzzi tub, he was doing selfies in my jacuzzi tub that night.
Okay. And
we get that phone open.
Oh yes. Well, like I said, if I don't, I've actually got it at an agency right now trying to get that information downloaded. If we're not unable to bypass that lock, then I may have it come to you and see if we can't get it unlocked, and then have it downloaded again, take it back to them why it's unlocked, or we've got to get it unlocked, because there is probably information on there that may help us with this.
Yes, because that guy, he keeps telling everybody different stories about when the last time he talked to me.
Right. And just so you know, I have spoke with him at length. So, and I'm not at liberty to say what he says right now, but
right.
just so you know that I have spoke with him.
And he said they met on Craigslist.
That's what Mark is saying.
Yeah.
Said that. Did he tell you that?
He told me that, but then my daughter told me that and this was around his birthday, they all left my house. We were having something at my house, and they left my house to go to Charleston to a club. And that's where Stephanie said that guy was there that night.
Okay.
And he's trying to say he danced with Steven that night. And Stephanie said that's a lie.
Okay.
Because Stephanie didn't leave his side because the guy looked weary. He was like staring at Steven really hard.
Right. So, has Mark or anybody else other than Mark, has anybody else? Have you heard any rumors or anything like that? Other than anything other than Mark?
The rumors that's going around Hampton that everybody keeps coming up to me and saying it was Murdaugh boys.
The Murdaugh boys?
Yes, whoever they are.
Okay.
Whoever they are. Remember, this is 2015. The rumor is it's the Murdaugh boys, whoever they are.
All right. And when you say, did they give any kind of description of what they mean, why they think it's the Murdaugh boys?
No. But I called David Rabb today because I was in town yesterday, and this guy named James Eady said that he seen this guy that morning in a different vehicle speeding, and then when the sirens started coming right before they got to where Steven was, he slowed down.
Okay.
And then James said when he got to Exxon, that guy was coming out as he was going in, and the guy was all sweaty and jittery.
And we're talking about Mark?
No, yeah, he said, yeah, the description he gave sounded like Mark.
Okay. All right. I know David's actually going over there and speak with him as we talk about it. Right. I know that much.
Okay.
Now, what I will say is and I didn't get your last name. I meant, what is your last name the same as Stevens?
Yes, it's Smith.
Okay, all right. Now you and are y'all still married, or are y'all already divorced? You and your
No, we're divorced.
Okay.
We've been divorced 5 years.
Okay, all right. And did Stephen, and I know this may be uncomfortable, but did Stephen ever mention anything about like dancing nude or anything like that?
Yeah, he told me he would send selfies and stuff.
But I'm talking about. I'm not talking about sending selfies. I'm talking about like in a club. I mean, as a job.
Oh, we used to joke because Stephen was so into school, and I think this is where this come from.
Okay.
But when Stephen told me, he says, well, his grants and stuff run out. And he was going to be a stripper, and he was going to work at an escort service to make money to pay for his school, is what he told me.
I got you.
You know, we joked about that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, as far as friends go, or did he ever tell you anybody ever really threatened him, or that he was having problems with anybody at all?
The only person which him and Stephen became friends at the time, but there was this guy stalking him. Well, made him feel uncomfortable.
Right.
But they ended up becoming friends, and it's James that works at Malibu. I can't think of his last name, but him and Stephen became friends in the end.
Okay. But let me ask you this: did this guy? Does he still work there at Milo?
He does.
Okay. And the first name is James.
Yeah, James. They went to first responder class together.
Now the Milo you're talking about is there in Hampton, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Little short black guy.
Okay. All right. But
Sanders, I think it's Sanders is his last name.
Okay. All right. That's like I said. We're putting everybody in the mix. So I mean, just don't. I mean, if some name pops into your mind, just because they know him, we're interviewing everybody that we possibly can to help us lead us to some information.
Well, I know the guy named Cash that owns the Cinco right there in Moorville by the highway department.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen used to talk about him. Him and like they were all friends. It was a group of them, and they would go have parties or something.
Okay.
And then they would go to the Huddle House and eat.
Okay. All right. Now, if anything pops up or you hear anything, and same thing I told your daughter, we've got a couple of things that we're looking at right now, and I just cannot discuss that part of it as of right now, but we are looking at a couple of different things, and if you hear, I don't care if it's a rumor or whatever, if there's something that you feel like that I need to know about, or even a Trooper Ryle needs to know about, if you need to get in touch with him, he will be. I'm actually out of Charleston. I'm one of the investigators that are. I am the main investigator as far as managing this case. But if you need to get something immediately, call Trooper Ryle. Talk with him. He is available as well. And he will be one of the contacts there in Hampton. He is actually shaking the trees in Hampton for me, and I'm kind of doing the outskirts of stuff. So if there's something that you find out, or somebody else that you feel like I need to talk to, that just kind of comes about, let me know.
Okay, I sure will.
All right, and
I appreciate all you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. And if you have my number. If you got a caller ID, this is the number you can reach me at.
Okay.
Okay, so first let me show you who Mark is, which was Stephen's boyfriend, I guess you would say. Here is Mark. This is him. This is Mark. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the two people of interest right now who has been on the radar since the very beginning. And let me pull it up. They have literally since just the beginning. That's not it. Okay, it's on there we go. Okay. All right, here they are. It's not a very good picture, especially because, but their names, these are, yeah, I love Fitz News. I support them monthly because they help me out tremendously. So I try to give it back to them. So Patrick Wilson and Sean Connolly. Patrick Wilson and Sean Connolly. And as you can see here, they look like definitely avid hunters, to say the least. Not to mention, I know at least one of them at the time lived on the road where Stephen was found. So that raises I think Mark is very strange, to be quite honest with you as well. But now these are just and this is my question. You can tell that they're avid hunters. Now, Paul was a hunter as well, right? He loved to do all the outdoor things. Was there a connection here? That looks just like Paul's gun, Pebble says. So that's the $1 million question right now. Did these two individuals or a third individual, perhaps allegedly Buster, did he know them? Who knows? Definitely red flags. Definitely red flags. And since the beginning, I'm going to go to, let me see if I can find it. And this is old news, but it kind of reiterates. Reiters what we'll call Mark, Stephen's boyfriend, we'll just call him his boyfriend, who claimed to have been Stephen Smith's boyfriend, said Stephen Smith, had mentioned two rednecks in a pickup truck who had allegedly harassed him at Snyder's Crossroads on Highway 63 between Walterboro and Varnville, South Carolina, the night he was murdered. According to Mark, Stephen claimed the two individuals who harassed him were riding in a big truck with mud tires. And Mark also says that you could hear big tires. The last time we talked that night, Mark says, before the phone went down, and I said to him, "Are you walking or not?" I knew at one point I heard big mud tires, Mark said. Big mud tires, they're like coming toward him or going past him because they sounded loud. And they were getting louder. And that, I believe, was the last time I talked to him. Would Smith be struck by a truck mirror with absence of debris at the scene? How would we explain the location of Smith's body in the middle of Sandy Run Road? To me, there was absolutely nothing that indicates Mark is Steven's boyfriend at the time. There's nothing at all to indicate that this happened, that a mirror hit him. Let me find it. Wrong one. Bear with me 1 second. So let me look at some. I'm trying to find at the very beginning of this. Okay. Patrick Wilson. There we go. Okay. On December 28th, 2015, 5 months after Stephen Smith's murder, SCHP investigators received a tip from Daryl Williams of Varnville, South Carolina. According to Williams, Patrick Wilson told him Sean Conley, another Hampton County teenager, they were teenagers at the time, was driving a vehicle which, quote, struck and killed Stephen Smith, end quote, on the night in question. Both Wilson and Conley both lived in the area where Stephen Smith's body was found. Now, here was Stephen's vehicle, right? Here's where Stephen's body was. Here's where Patrick lived in 2015. And right down the road here is where Sean lived. Sean Conley. And right over here is where Stephen's residence was. Now that's red flags. He only has a head injury with a vehicle. There would have definitely been more injuries. Definitely been more injuries. I can't imagine a mirror just doing that little bit of I mean, it would have knocked his shoes off. It would have knocked his shoes off. Even if the mirror just, swiped him, right? He would have had lacerations all over his arm from the road rash. And also, if you look at the way Stephen is laying perfectly in the middle of the road, the way his legs are angled, it looks like he had almost been laid there, in my opinion. But there was a lot of bodily fluids, around his head, and that's what confuses me. I feel like it happened right there where he was found. But the way his legs are positioned, I have questions. Oh, his shoes were completely loose. And the placement is definitely odd. Definitely odd, to say the very, very least. There is I think this is all right. Let's listen to this interview. These are the interviews of the very first interviews of Stephen Smith.
To come get him.
Okay. And things like that.
Okay.
If you would, before we get started, just state your first, middle, and last name for me.
Stephanie Nicole Smith.
All right, and Stephanie, if you would, just give me your address and phone number.
Now, this is Stephen Smith's sister, twin sister. She knew him probably better than anybody on the planet.
Okay. And Stephanie, I'm just going to get a little bit of background about you.
Thank you so much,
How old
Debbie,
are
for
you?
your support. It
Thank
really
you.
means
Okay.
a lot to me
And
right
you
now.
are the
Thank you so
sister
much.
and twin
Thank you, my love.
of Stephen. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your educational level, what is it right now?
I'm a high school graduate. Haven't started college yet.
Okay. All right. So you understand reading and writing. Is that correct?
Yes.
You living with your father. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you have other brothers that live there with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And they're older than you are?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As far as this instance, I know you're familiar with what we've been kind of discussing a little bit earlier, and plus in the past. This is about Stephen, where he was there was an incident on Sandy Run Road, and what I'm gonna ask you is just kind of tell me a little bit about Stephen at first. I mean, you don't have to go back to his early childhood and stuff, but just right around high school up until now, just kind of give me a little bit of information about this, about what Stephen is like and things like that.
Well, he was not really, put it this way, in high school, he was kind of open and friends with everybody, but he didn't have, like a best friend. And of course, I was always there.
Right.
I always had to back him up and everything. When he got into college, the first semester, he was acting normal. And then when he started doing summer classes, that's when he started acting a little funny. And
when you say funny,
he started coming home late.
Okay.
Like just this recent Monday, he didn't come home until 2 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes he'll send me pictures, like he sent me a picture of his cat, and his shoe was off, and I was like, "Are you at mom's?" He said, "No, I'm still at school. I took my shoe off to get mud off his shoe." And I'm sitting here like, that campus isn't muddy, it's clean and everything, so that didn't add up. But I didn't want to pressure him, so I just left it alone. And he acted normal until just recently.
So when you say normal, he was just a average kid running around, hanging out with friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who did he typically hang out with?
Well, if I was there, it would be.
Go ahead.
Well, that's kind of difficult to answer.
No, that's all right. I mean, anybody. I mean, just who was the ones besides yourself that he ended up hanging around with?
Well, the last time he actually hung out with people that I knew when I was around, that would be a girl named Tia Dobson, a boy named Jalen Dennis, and I think that was it. But and normally he would hang out with a girl named Brittany Dandridge and a girl named Rachel Tootin, and that's who he rode to school with.
Okay.
Until he had to do summer classes. So he didn't.
You say summer classes. Did he not graduate, or was he having to do summer classes to graduate?
Well, what happened was the guidance counselor messed him up. He had 29 points and he needed 30.
Okay.
And they wouldn't give him that class in that same semester, so he had to do summer.
Okay. So summer classes will be done where?
At OC Tech.
Okay. So it was at Orangeburg up there. Okay. And how often?
This is where he would help Buster.
He went Monday through Wednesday.
Okay.
He didn't go on Thursdays, and there's no school on Fridays.
Okay. All right. And When he, what time did he usually go to school?
Some days he would go to school at 12 o'clock. He'd stay home all morning and then leave at 12. Sometimes he'll leave at 6 o'clock and he'd have to be there at 8.
Okay. All right. So it was just varying on days and times that he went. Do you know what he usually did once y'all got out of school? Do you know what he did throughout this part of the summer? And was he telling you where he was hanging out or what he was doing?
No, well, my mom said he started going over to her house. He would skip school some days and go to her house and stay there until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And she said he started hanging out at this place called Bobcat Landing. And he got in an altercation there. This is what my sister, it's on her phone, it was text messages between her and Steven, and he was asking her to come help him because cops got called out and he was getting an argument with somebody. I don't know exactly who it was, but I know it was around the same exact time that this incident happened.
Okay, so
it was July 4th.
July 4th. So it was over the July 4th weekend.
Yes.
All right. Now, Stephen was openly gay. Is that correct? I mean, maybe not around the family, but
yeah.
To others, was he openly gay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you know did he have any type of boyfriends or anything like that?
Steven's never had a relationship. That's one thing that got me when this guy said I'm his boyfriend, because he's not Steven's type.
Okay.
And because Steven liked skinny, kind of built, light-skinned guys.
Okay.
And, you know, when this guy's like, I'm his boyfriend, I'm just like, no.
I think Mark, in my opinion, Stephen may have felt like he made Mark feel some sort of way, but I think Stephen, it was more of his maybe sugar daddy or someone of convenience.
No, you're more of a sugar daddy, and he got mad at me for saying that, but I was just,
I understand.
Explaining to him, and he don't want to talk to me because everything he told me about Steven, I'm sitting here calling him a liar because...
Can you tell me some of the things that he told you about Steven?
He told me Steven was in an escort service, and I know for a fact Steven wasn't because he never left the house like that. And I think you got to be at least 21, I think.
Okay.
And he said he did it out in Charleston, and he was making about $3,800 a night and stuff like that. And
Are they hiring?
Him and Steven met at a club, and I told him that was a lie because we only went to one club, and that was Club Pantheon in Charleston because it was 18 and older. And he didn't meet anybody there because I was stuck on him like glue. I wouldn't let him go anywhere.
Right.
And
when was this when y'all went to that club?
$3,800 a night. I'll shake it like a salt shaker.
All I could tell you, it was like right after we turned 18.
And when did y'all turn 18?
January 29th.
Okay. So it was after January 29th.
Yes.
So it could have been February or March.
Dress up like Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was sitting there saying that's how he met Steven. And then he changed his story and said he met Steven at a club that closed in Charleston when Steven was like 16. And I told him that's impossible because Steven didn't have a phone at 16. Steven didn't have his license nor a car.
When did Steven get his license? Do you remember?
Well, he never got his license. He was running on a permit.
So even up until his death, he was running on a permit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And he never drove. He didn't start driving until he started school. But that was like summer classes. That's when he started driving himself. And Mark said that him and Steven were meeting up at places and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, no, because we only had one car up until Steven started college. And then that's when we got the yellow car, and then we got that SUV. And
now, who drove the SUV?
Steven did for a little while.
Okay. And when was he driving it compared to the little yellow car he had?
Well, he just recently started driving the yellow car. He only drove it about maybe 5 times. But the SUV, he drove it all the time until it broke down.
Okay. And the SUV, did it have a mechanical problem for it to break down? Was it in bad shape when he got it? And I'm not saying, or did it just all of a sudden just start having problems?
It was perfectly fine when we got it. It just, started acting funny.
Okay, all right. So basically, go ahead and tell me, about what Mark was. Continue on with what Mark was saying.
Mark was saying that, I'm trying to remember everything.
That's fine. Don't, like I said, bad, good, indifference. Doesn't what somebody says doesn't make it true either. So.
Yeah. He was just sitting there, telling me how he knew Steven and what Steven was doing. He said, "Did you know your brother smoked weed?" I said, "Why would he smoke weed if he had to do a drug test for school?" Because he had to do one constantly and
Right.
all that. And he was like, "I don't know." And then he said he gave Steven some money. And I know that was just $200. He said he was paying the car insurance, paying for all of Steven's school stuff, and that's not true because it comes directly out my dad's account, except that $200 for the scrubs. He told me Steven was being harassed at school, which I don't know if that's true or not because Steven would have told me and my dad if something happened at school.
Now, were you and Steven close enough for him to tell you stuff about his sexual relationship with other guys? Were y'all that close enough where he would feel comfortable? Okay, good. Okay.
That's why he never had a boyfriend because he had trust issues.
Okay.
But everything like Mark was saying, I'm sitting here like, that's not my brother, and he's like, yeah, it is, and so we just stopped talking.
When did you talk to Mark about that?
The night after the wake, my aunt sent him to my house, and he talked to me and my dad for a little bit, and that's when he was telling us all of this, and he asked me if I wanted to see my brother, like, on his phone, like, proof of them together, and I shouldn't have walked into that because he showed me pictures that I didn't want to see.
I understand. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's not
Mark
like I
is
haven't seen it
weird.
before, but I thought he was talking about
Like,
pictures of them
you
two
don't
together,
show.
that kind of stuff.
Ugh.
And then he said him and Steven got in an argument about this 22-year-old, whatever. So he showed me his phone, and in the contacts it says the 22-year-old I met in the phone. And
now go back now. The day that you said they got in an argument about a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
All right. Do you know the 22-year-old they're talking about?
All I know is in Mark's phone it says a 22-year-old I met in the store. But Mark told me he never met the guy, and he showed me pictures of this guy, and I swear he looked 13. He showed me full
body picture.
Yes.
Okay.
And this guy looked 13, and I told him, I said, that's like my nephew right there. He's 8, and he's got a body like that. This guy didn't hit puberty or nothing. And he was like, well, he's 22. And I was like, okay. And he said, Steve.
That's the vibes I get from Mark. Exactly what she's talking about there. Creeper McCreeperton vibes. Puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again vibes. I just get that from him. Ugh.
Even supposedly had the papers on this person proving that they were 22, and I don't believe that either.
Okay.
Pedo in the shadow kind of thing.
He said something about something happened on this app, Cringe. It's a gay app.
Okay.
I don't know if they got in an argument or something, but somebody blocked him off of there, so Mark couldn't go on his thing. But something on there, I don't know exactly what. But
Now prior to Mark ever coming over to y'all's house, did you know about Mark?
All I knew is that there was some guy paying for Steven's phone and his phone bill.
Okay.
And gave him $200. Other than that, Steven didn't talk about him.
Okay.
So he wasn't important.
And let me ask you this: on a typical day, even when y'all were in high school, y'all just graduated this year. Was it this
14.
Year? 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. After y'all graduated, Steven basically just came and went as he pleased, or did he just stay at home a good bit, or what did he do?
He stayed home all the time unless he had school, and then he'd come straight home because this is when he was riding with those two girls. And then, of course, when summer classes started, that's when he started coming and going as he pleased.
Okay, this summer, did he have to take summer classes this summer as well? You said he started acting.
Ramona, he got banned from that? He got banned from Grindr? You have to be I'm sure a real POS to get banned from Grindr. It's like getting Steven looked younger than his age. I think so as well. Yeah. Are we sure Mark wasn't involved in this? You know, he was supposed to have taken his medicine. His phone never left. I think they checked his car and everything, so yeah, I believe Mark and Steven met on Craigslist. But I feel like Mark is a creeper. Definitely a creeper.
Real funny about his life, I guess, about what he was doing. And it was about 2 weeks prior to his death.
He was acting a little secretive.
Okay, so he was becoming more secretive then. And then was that with the whole family, including you?
Yeah, that was with the whole family.
Hey, Sergeant, can I call you back in a little bit? I'm in an interview. Okay, all right.
But that's when he kind of, it's like my sister would call and ask him to take her places, and he was acting normal, and then he started coming home late and going to Bamberg all the time, and
that was over the past 2 weeks. And when you say he was going to Bamberg, did y'all know where he was going at in Bamberg? Nobody knew?
No.
Does your mother know? Did she have any idea?
She said that he was hanging out at Bobcat Landing, but then again, she said sometimes he would take Highway 70 and go to her house.
Okay. On the night that he died, or the morning that he died, had you talked to him at all that day?
The day, like, before he left that day, he was at Bronson Exxon getting cigarettes for my dad, and he called me and told me his car wouldn't crank.
And what time was that?
It was about 5:30.
In the afternoon?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I checked his car. I went to go jump it off, and it's like somebody loosened his battery connections. Okay. Like unscrewed it and loosened them. So I tightened them back up, and I followed him all the way home. He hopped in the shower.
Okay, I want to talk about this part because she says it's like someone loosened his battery connections. I followed him home. Right there, if someone was messing with his car prior to him dying, was someone taking out the gas as well? Could someone have been taking out the gas? Is that why he ran out of gas? It's very suspicious, Regina. Very suspicious. Somewhat. And the way the car was placed, it was placed off to the side of the road. It wasn't just on the corner of the road, it was off the side of the road, which makes you really wonder, like, was that car placed there? Did they take the gas out knowing he was going to run out of gas and be stranded, and there was nowhere he could go? Couldn't run or anything, and gave them room to pull him behind. It was very perfectly placed. Absolutely. Did he ever report someone messing with the car? Not that I'm aware of.
Got out and left at exactly 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And that was the last time.
Did he say where he was going to?
Yay, thank you, Nosy.
over the 2 weeks, did he give any indication who he may have been hanging out with?
No.
Did anybody that you know of know who he may have been hanging out with?
Mm-mm.
Now, I'm gonna go back to some of this stuff about what Mark had said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as over the 2 weeks, could he have met somebody other than Mark that you know of?
Well, Steven wasn't really put it this way, if he was talking to somebody, he would give them a different address if they wanted to send him stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get how him and Mark, became close and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that is a good sign of safety right there. He would give them another address. That shows that he practiced safety. He wasn't giving these random men his address. Also, Stephen has been known to run out of gas before, but he would never, he would always like go in the woods or something. That way, no stranger would, come by and ask him if he needs help. But it was also night there as well. So, make that make sense. But it is a good thing that, he was practicing these safety things. So it kind of lets you know a little bit more about Steven, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because
And when you say give a different address, what do you mean by a different?
he would choose a house down the
That's
road and
true,
get the
Boo.
stuff sent there. That's how Steven was.
Okay.
And he wouldn't let people know where he lived, and if he did, he'd be like down the road,
Okay.
that type thing.
All right. Now,
Cindy, I think what she means is like, I mean, involved with anyone. Like, involved is, in my opinion, I guess is, you know, maybe, guys who wanted to send him gifts or something. I mean, does that mean you're necessarily, maybe he was talking to people on the internet and they were sending gifts. He never met him or anything, but, who knows? But nothing serious, in my opinion. But it's a legit question what you're asking, for sure.
did do you know if your brother was putting things on Craigslist or not?
I know he was putting some things, but not. I knew about all the gay app accounts he had,
All right.
but other than anything personal, no.
Okay. On these gay app accounts, was he trying to meet people? And I'm not talking about just for money. Was he trying to meet people on these accounts? In other words, like a dating website.
He would. It was more of a friend thing.
Okay.
He didn't really want anything, too close and personal with these people. He just wanted somebody to talk to, and that's how he talked to all these people. But I always told him to leave all them people on the internet because he was going to mess with the wrong person and something was going to happen.
Okay.
So there we have it. I think that's what she meant by that. I think he was talking to a lot of different people on the internet. And, you know, he was maybe getting gifts or whatever they was trying to send. Maybe he would, like a something like an OnlyFans or something like that. Maybe. He would do things for money or gifts.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Over the 4th of July weekend, did he tell you about the argument itself that he had? You said the police showed up. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did it?
That's right on the line of Orangeburg, Bamberg County. You know if Orangeburg County came or Bamberg County?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
I want to say that's Orangeburg County. I can check with.
Yeah,
Sheriff
we're
Department
going to see if some report was taken down there. Do you know who he had been hanging out with down there at the landing?
No.
Okay. Now, had had Stephen ever indicated to you that he would like to do escort services or anything?
Well, he always joked about it with my friend. Like just recently, July 1st, we went somewhere, and we went to Walmart, and my friend was there, and him and my friend were joking around about being escorts because of how much money it makes and being strippers and all that. But he never said he would actually do it.
Now, and this is and outside of Mark, would it be a possibility that he could have started and you not know it?
No.
You don't think you think he would at least told you about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because see, he didn't start really leaving the house until just recently, and that's when he decided to come when he wanted to. And like I told Mark, I said if Steven had any type of money, he would have spent it on my dad because of how much my dad's, helped him. He would have spent it on me, my niece, his nephew, and my mom. Steven wouldn't have hid his money. He would have used it.
Was he working at the time though, other than going to school? Is that pretty much
No.
what he did?
Yeah, Mark said Steven started his clinicals, but he didn't. He went to Columbia and Charleston to fill out some paperwork for his clinicals, but he didn't start.
Okay. Have you ever been around Steven, or has Steven told you anybody who's ever really threatened him about him being gay or anything like that?
No, Steven never talked about that part of his life. He always, he was always happy, but he never let that stuff get to him.
So he kind of kept stuff like that close to him then?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anybody, or do you know anybody that had ill intentions to him? Did anybody ever tell you, your brother's gay and, he better watch out for himself? Or did any of your friends ever hear anything like that?
No.
How about the rumors that you've been hearing on the street? That you told me earlier today about people that possibly were involved?
A bunch of people, like, I just left the house the first official time yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
And I went into the store, and a bunch of people kept coming up to me, and they're like, did you know the Murdoch boys are behind it? Saying Buster Murdoch, the one we went to school with, did it, and some of his...
Okay, very important. Here we have Murdaugh involved, well, not involved in the story. So listen very carefully.
friends, and I'm just sitting here like, why? It makes no sense. He's never said anything bad about Steven. He's never been around Steven to,
Who told you this stuff?
One person was a friend of my brother's. I can't think of his name. Then a boy named Tyrell told me, and some other people, but I'm just, I was mind boggled at that, and I kind of ignored it. And, I haven't heard any more about that.
Has anybody talked to your mom? Now, and this is has anybody brought it to the attention of your mom about, rumors and things like that? Has she heard anything that you know of?
She's heard the same exact stuff I've heard, but she's more stuck on Mark did it, and all that.
So she, Sandy, Steven's mother, from, she thought from, I guess, almost the beginning that, she was kind of throwing Mark's name out there. So that's interesting, but in my opinion, I don't think, he had anything to do with it personally, but could be wrong.
Okay. And let me ask you this. What would make her be stuck on that Mark did it?
Because when he came to the wake, he popped out of nowhere. And he asked my aunt, he's like, is this Steven Smith's, family and everything? And my aunt said, yeah. And he was like, well, I'm Steven's boyfriend. And he said he wasn't going into the building until his...
Now it's possible, hypothetically speaking, it's possible, Steven was trying to break away from him. Mark could have been obsessed with him, and if I can't have you, nobody can, and he may have could have done so, had someone do something to him, but that is just all speculation. I do think we're getting closer to the truth, though. They are saying that there is person or persons of interest, which I've given you two names.
Sponsor came, and what got me was my dad told me to take him in there to go see Steven. And I said, brace yourself, it don't look like him. I said, just go ahead and tell you that now. He's like, I'm fine. He stopped at the door, called somebody and said, yes, Steven's dead, and then hung up. Didn't say nothing else. Then we walked to the casket, and he looked. He's like, what was it? I said, a hit and run. And then he was like, no, he was beat to death. And I kind of looked at him like, how would you know? And then he was like, was he sexually assaulted? I said, I don't know. And then he left.
Now, they did do a rape kit on Steven. I don't know the results of that. I don't know that it's ever been released or not. I don't know if it has or it hasn't, but I do know that they did a rape kit on him. But it's interesting, this is in 2015, and she said, was he raped?
After the wake, has Mark tried to contact you again?
He did. I think the day of the funeral, or maybe the day before the funeral, he called me, and I didn't want to talk to him, but my cousin and my aunt told me to talk to him, and my cousin was sitting there writing down everything he said, like important key points.
Right.
And ever since that, all of that's changed. But my mom has it, in her truck. But other than that, he hasn't talked to me because he don't want to talk to me.
Has anybody come to your house? When I say anybody, expressing condolence that you really wouldn't have thought would have come to the house?
Not really.
Has anybody other than Mark acted strange, and I'm talking about strange about his death, made odd comments that just kind of threw you off?
Not really, except this one guy that lives in North Carolina. He used to have the biggest crush on Steven, and he was blowing up my aunt's Facebook, and he was sitting there trying to message me and stuff, but I ignored him. He said he was coming down, and he said it was all drug related and stuff like that, but I'm sitting here, how would you know? You were another state away, and Steven didn't talk to him. So that was kind of weird, and we haven't heard from him since.
Okay. And did he call you on the phone, or did he Facebook, or?
He messaged me on Facebook. I gave him my number because he wanted it. He texted me, then he called me off of another number, and
Do you have that number?
I think so.
Now, Steven's phone has a lock on it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? What kind of lock does he have on it?
The last time that he ever talked about his phone was a fingerprint.
Fingerprint lock.
Yeah.
And what was the secondary? You know how some phones have if you lock yourself out and it doesn't read it, or whatever happened, somebody else. What was the secondary? Do you know?
I don't know. I know it was my mom. She was supposed to be one of the people with her fingerprint in it, and then I was supposed to be the third person.
Okay.
But I never did it because I told Steven I didn't want to be, nosy in his phone.
I got you.
So other than that, I don't know what kind of lock he had on it because I never really touched his phone.
Okay.
Because that's his privacy. But let's see if I can find this. This is one of the numbers. He if you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the numbers.
Do you remember his name?
His original name is Tyler Martin, but he goes by Taylor.
Your dad's calling me or text me. Okay.
I'll answer him later.
Tyler.
Yeah.
What was last name? Martin.
Martin.
Did you know of Steven ever using alias name I know you said that he would have packages delivered somewhere else. Do you ever know
Well,
about him using a different name?
on one of the packages, because I was cleaning up his room, straightening it up the other day, and on one of the packages it said Noel Rivers, but it had my address.
Noel?
Yeah, Noel Rivers. And it had my address, so that kind of, struck me as odd. But I knew what was in the packages, but...
What were in the packages that he got? I mean, it's all right.
They were dildos and stuff like that,
Okay.
and porn magazines and all of that.
Okay, so, but it was stuff that he had sent did it send to y'all's house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Did you know that they were coming or not?
Not really. He told me that somebody was buying stuff for him, and he never really told me what it was, but, I had to go in his room a couple times, and I found it, even though I didn't want to.
Right.
And just ignored it from there.
Okay. Did he ever tell you who was buying this stuff for him?
No.
All right. Is there anybody that you know or that you would speculate other than Mark that would be buying this stuff for him?
All I have to tell you is it would have to be somebody that he talked to online.
Online?
Mm-hmm.
And when you say online, typically, online, did he use his tablet more online, or did he use a computer, or?
He used his tablet the most, and cause he just recently got that cell phone. Cause my dad bought him a phone just like this.
Okay.
And he was texting a bunch of people, and that's when Mark bought him this phone, and said he would pay for it. So the phone that he had disappeared. I haven't found it. It's gone.
You talking about the phone that you had there? Okay.
Yeah. Cause he said he wasn't gonna give it to my dad until he texted everybody and told them
he had a new number.
Yeah. Cause that phone was off, and he told me he was waiting on my dad to turn it back on so he can text all these people. But the phone disappeared, and then he stayed with his cell phone a little bit.
Okay.
And then that's where he.
But so if he was doing something, it was going to be more on that tablet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you say he was it would be somebody from online.
Mm-hmm.
That would be somebody that he would have met online.
Mm-hmm.
And it's possibly that he could have met them without y'all knowing over the past 2 weeks when you said he started
Yeah.
being a little more secretive. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on that tablet, did it have a lock on that tablet?
No.
No lock on the tablet?
No, he took the lock off because, there was no need in hiding it because nobody else was going through it. But he's used that iPad since 11th grade.
So he's used it quite a bit.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he just recently, threw it aside and stopped using it.
Okay, all right. Did he go to school the night that he died that you know of? Are you sure he showed up at school?
Yes, he went to school.
Okay. But you don't have a clue where he went to after that?
No.
That car that he was driving,
Mm-hmm.
had it ever had any type of mechanical problems not starting before?
No, it's never had any types of problems except you have to put 1 quart of oil every time you stop because it had a little leak and we haven't found it
So
yet.
it was burning oil.
Yeah.
I mean, somewhere it was leaking oil.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, every time you pretty much either fill up with gas or put gas in the car, or the next day you might have to put a whole quart of oil in it. Okay.
And that was the only issue. Other than that, no problems with that car whatsoever.
Okay. Had he ever run out of gas before?
Yes, and that was in the SUV. Except right where he parked his car,
Mm-hmm.
a little farther down the road, there was this little driveway. You could barely see it. He parked the truck in there, and then he walked. And right where that fence was, where his car was, he would hide there. And he called me and my dad, and we were sitting there going back and forth on the road, asking him where he was, and he was like, "You passed me. You passed me again." That's the type of person he was. He would hide.
Okay. So
There again, it shows safety. He would hide. I mean, even his, Steven's dad and sister couldn't even find him. Pamela, when did you send it, honey? The phone was in the car at first. No, I think his phone and keys, I think it was, someone help me in chat, was with him on his person. I can't think it maybe his wallet. Was that in the car? Or was that on? But regardless, if anything was on him, if that phone was in his pocket and you was hit by a car, that phone's coming out. It is coming out. Yes, the wallet was in the car. Yes. Yeah, the wallet was between the seat and the door. Yes.
But he wasn't more out in the open and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
how many times that you know if he ran out of gas?
About a couple times, because he called me every time to get me to come get him.
Okay.
No cracks. Sleuthy Goosey. No
Did
cracks.
he have a gas can that you know of that he carried in the car? He didn't carry a gas can.
No.
So
The only time he carried a gas can was when he was driving the SUV, because it's got mud tires on it, so it don't read gas correctly. And that's the only vehicle he would drive with the gas can.
okay. And on the day, and you may or may not know this, and I'm throwing this out there. Do you know if he had filled up earlier that day? Do you know when the last time he put gas in that car?
No, because the same time he was supposed to get cigarettes from my dad, he was supposed to fill up, and my dad told him, fill it up, $25, and then that car's good. Steven was the type of person, he didn't want to take my dad's money, so he only did $10, and that would get him to Orangeburg and back.
Okay.
Unless he did a little extra.
Running around or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Did the gauges at all work in that car as far as gas gauges, things like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you driven that car before?
Mm-hmm. I drove it plenty of times.
So it wasn't like there was any real major problem.
Not
if
at
it
all.
ran out of gas, then that's because he just went too far. Then right, it wasn't like it had any type of fuel pump or anything or fuel problem that you know of.
No, because we just finished working on that car, because well, we didn't finish working on it. We changed everything, and made everything newer, and it worked perfectly fine because I drove it for a while back and forth from Beaufort, so it worked perfectly fine for me.
Had Steven ever been to Beaufort?
Alone, I'm not sure, but with me, plenty of times.
Okay, so you don't know if he's been alone or not.
No.
I
know Mark said that him and Steven, well, one case, Steven sprained his ankle really bad, and he said him and somebody, he just said somebody, went to the beach.
Okay.
And he said he was lying to my parents saying that he sprained his ankle at home, but he didn't come home until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't ask Mark. I was just like, have y'all ever went on dates since you're his boyfriend? He's like, yeah, we went to the beach, and that's where
you put one or two and two together.
Okay. Was that around the 4th of July weekend too?
No.
That's before?
Yes, before. So he's...
Would that be somewhere around March, April when he sprained his foot?
Yeah, I think so. But that was the only thing that...
Let me ask you this. When Steven started acting real weird about his secrecy part of life, was he coming home later and later? Was that one of the part of the secrecy to it?
Not really. See, he would ask my dad if he can go places, and hang out with certain friends, and my dad would say yeah, and so that's where he kind of got his leeway. And then just Monday, I would say, is when he really started coming home late, because Monday, he didn't come home until 2. I don't know where he was at. He said something, but I don't know exactly where he was at. It wasn't a place that would ring a bell. I think it was at my mom's or something like that. But other than that.
So any of the friends that he hung out with here lately, you wouldn't really know that one.
The people that I knew he hung out with, I know them really well. But then the people that he hung out with, and we have no idea where. didn't know. I
So
don't know.
over the past 2 weeks, you really wouldn't know who he'd been hanging out with, though, would you?
No.
And when you say he's getting more secretive about things, was it more secretive about what he was going to do,
Yeah.
or more about just not telling y'all what was going on?
It was more of a he wouldn't tell us where he was going and what he was doing.
Okay. And do you think he told your mom anything? Was him and his mom closer here the last few months, or?
She said they were because he would skip school and come to her house and stay there all day until.
Do you think he would confide in her some of those things he might not confide in you?
Well, I've kind of talked to her and she said he didn't really tell her anything. He was acting strange but normal.
Right.
Because he left school for no reason and stayed at her house.
Okay. And has that been over the past 2 weeks that he left school and just stayed at her house? I'm just sitting here trying to think of some things that I can.
But I don't really think he had any friends at school except older women. And actually one of them came over to my mom's house and said how sorry she was because they found out. I think they just found out Thursday about what happened to Stephen, and she came and gave her condolences.
When did y'all have the wake for Stephen?
We had the wake Saturday. Yeah, Saturday at 5.
And he was buried Saturday as well?
Sunday at 5.
Sunday at 5. Okay.
And someone asked, I wonder if he was getting threats. You hear about Stephen's sister talking about the battery cable and all that. Stephen he was very young. He was kind of living a risky lifestyle to be so young. And, when you are talking to so many individuals, specifically romantically, people can get feelings, or they can feel, they can get controlling as well. So, he was kind of living a really risky lifestyle to be involved, with people locally and online, and especially in a smaller town as well. And, people and if specifically in a small town, if you say something to someone who, is not out, or, was a one-time thing or whatever, they can be embarrassed, or, don't want it out, and things can happen. It wouldn't be the first time that's ever happened. So, was it Buster? Was it any of these other two boys? You know what I mean? That we've mentioned, possibly. We just don't know at this point.
I can't think of anything else. You have anything you want to ask?
Other than did you ever know of Stephen advertising on these um chat rooms or anything?
Yeah, he put himself out there.
Like,
So he did let people know he was available.
Yeah.
And when we say advertising, we're talking about for money as well.
Yeah.
Too. Okay.
But he's never received money from anybody except Mark.
Or that you know of. And I'm talking the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When he started getting real secretive, there's a possibility that he might have been doing some of that, receiving money, but y'all just didn't know at that point. And he may not wanted y'all to know. You think anything?
that's about all I can think of. Other than what I'm gonna reiterate what Corporal said. spread the word. You know, talk around town. You know,
Make it, and when he's talking about spread the word, make it sound not like that we don't have anything. And because I'm gonna be honest with you, we're at a loss. Even the sheriff's department. I mean, everybody's. You know, there's nothing, and this is one of the reasons why I don't feel like it's a hit and run. I've looked at the body itself, just does not, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying it could not be. I'm not totally eliminating that. You're not interpret that, but I am not leaning towards that. And but I would like for you just to, you know, people that may be, I guess how your dad put it, they rednecks or some people put it out there, you know, oh yeah.
Okay, this one's almost over. I want to, before I run out of time, I want to show you the interview with Mark, because this is important. Because Mark was the last known person to speak with him on the phone.
Last name is Bickhardt, Bickhardt. Birth date is 4/18/68.
And what's your phone number that you have? And the address here? And how long have you been living here?
Gosh.
Here, just a rough estimate. It doesn't have to be exact.
2 weeks, maybe, possibly.
Where were you living at prior to that?
94 Savannah Highway.
In Buford?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay. And as far as your educational level, what kind of education do you have?
12th grade, but I didn't graduate.
Okay. You understand how to read and write? Understand English and stuff?
Yeah, basics.
I mean, can you read?
I can read, but can't comprehend sometimes.
Okay. But you can read is what I'm saying.
Yes, I can read, but I have dyslexia.
Okay. You can write?
Yeah.
Okay. So
spelling ain't that good.
That's fine. I mean, I'm not worried about, you know, the grammatical errors.
No, I'm just telling you, I can read, I can, you know, like comprehension, but spelling is not there. I was going to go back to school.
All right, let me ask you this. How long, or is this your permanent resident as of right now?
Oh my God, Faith, thank you
we're hoping
so
permanent, but
much.
I'm not sure right now.
Are you living here by yourself, or you living with somebody?
My son should be coming, but I'm not bringing him in this situation. I got a 5-year-old son.
Okay, all right. All right, let me kind of go back. You're familiar about the incident where Stephen Smith died last Wednesday, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. What I want you to do is when was the last time you talked to Stephen?
That night.
All right. About what time? Not the text, but about what time is the last time you talked to him?
You have to remember with all this, I took my Seroquel sometime. I can't remember if the call came.
I'm just asking for a roundabout time.
I can't remember if it came after the text or before the text.
Thank you, Faith, so much. It's so kind of you, really. I wanted to, this is Mark. This is allegedly Stephen's boyfriend, according to Mark. Now, Mark is saying that, he took his Seroquel, which is Seroquel is a mood stabilizer, an antipsychotic, but a lot of people is prescribed it for sleep. And just by his voice, he doesn't necessarily sound, educated, or he sounds a little rough around the edges. I'll just say it that way. So he was born in 68, and Mark has been around the streets, and I just get a weird vibe when it comes to Mark, to be quite honest with you.
Because the last call I heard, I asked him on one of the calls, "Are you walking?" Because he already told me he was out of gas. He was running out of gas. One of the calls before, and I says, "Are you walking?" Because I hear cars going by, and his answer to me was no. And then the call dropped. And I don't remember if he called me because we were back and forth. The calls kept dropping.
After the call, did you text him?
I mean, I don't remember. I mean, there were texts. I mean, we had so many texts back and forth that night on me worried about him calling me. Phone servers out there, and with this phone right now, we're having issues with our phones. Right. And half the times I don't have service.
Do you remember if it was daytime or nighttime when it was going on?
This is at night. This is
Okay.
3 a.m.
Okay. So,
I believe the last text, if my mind calls me correct, that I looked at it was 3:37 a.m.
now, was he coming over here?
He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be on the way, but from what I'm learning, he was headed home.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay. So, but as far as you know, he was coming over here.
That was what we were talking about, and that's what the texts were saying.
Okay. Anything else on them texts?
You know who his voice reminds me of? You know what his voice reminds me of? It reminds me of Andrew from the Summer Wells case, Hunter's dad. I think of him when I think of Mark. The voice and just everything, to be quite honest with you. I think of Andrew with the voice. Yeah, and a lot of people, people's like, well, that's what he was saying, that's what we were talking about. I mean, I get it. It's a little strange.
About where he had been.
Earlier that day, before we left to go to Walterboro, because my friends had to go to GameStop to get a game. We went to Walmart. From Walmart, we went to Arby's. Then my friends went to his cousin's house. Then my sugar dropped again. We went to the exit right when you come from 57 to come here to Hampton. There's a Horn gas station, I believe it is. We went back there. I got $4 worth of gas, and my friend went in to get me a Hershey bar. And the girl, African American girl, was pulling all the garbage and everything. He may need to go to work. Hold on. Hey, I'm in an interview. I can't talk. All right. You got to go to work? No, I already cut that off.
All
Sorry.
Right. So Stephen had been with you earlier in the day, right?
No, I was not seeing Stephen at all.
So
that day at all.
When's the last time you actually saw him?
Saturday.
Saturday?
But the family saying that his SUV was not around. That SUV that he came to my house, came to see me several times, and even times before that I didn't have a car, been driving around this town.
Well, is this gray car out here the one you drive?
That's the one I drive. Okay. That's my Lincoln.
And you have any other cars? Is it in your name?
Yeah, that's in my name. That's registered and insured in my name.
Okay. Any other cars registered in your name?
Not registered.
But do you have any other cars?
I had to rent a car when I first came here because the transmission was having trouble.
What kind of rental car was it?
It was a Jeep.
How long did you have it?
Less than a week. About a week. I had it from Tuesday to Tuesday.
You talking about Tuesday of last week?
Yeah.
Had it from Tuesday to Tuesday, but that's less than a week.
Tuesday, so I had that.
You talking about today? You turned it in?
No.
You talking about last Tuesday?
The Tuesday I was trying to get to, if you could, the next day that he got killed, I had the car. I had the Lincoln Tuesday.
The day that he got killed?
The day before he got killed, the Lincoln, I had the Lincoln. Okay. All right. So I had the Jeep the week before that.
Okay. All right.
And until that Tuesday.
So throughout the day, had you been talking with him and all?
We were mainly texting up until later on. I think I did talk to him at some point. I don't remember when. I know we talked because he said I know I called him a lot of times. His signals are not good. I don't remember when, a time frame, but I know we did talk, and he said he was either a text or something. He said it was about an hour and a half out.
Okay. So the conversation that y'all were having, what was the conversation y'all were talking about?
Mainly, was he going to come, just normal boyfriend and boyfriend talk. I mean, we love each other, yada, yada, yada. I called him at one point. I know I left messages because I didn't get him that we were going to Walterboro. And if, I think I texted him the same thing because I didn't get him because I wasn't sure whether he was in school, whether he was in work. A lot of times I'd like to text him to make sure he wasn't in school because if he was, he could get in trouble if his phone was on. So I tried to text him first. To be honest with you, the next day I was upset with him. because I had later on that day, I had a deep gut feeling something happened. For the simple reason the phone wouldn't even would go right to voicemail.
Well, let me ask you this. Have y'all been arguing here lately?
We did have a little argument back because somebody's been messing around.
Listen to this carefully. Carefully. He said they did argue and that he felt like something was wrong.
He has it, and I just changed all my passwords because Craigslist things are coming in that I wasn't doing, and they're still coming in. And now, as of last night,
when you say things were coming in, what kind of things were coming in from Craigslist?
He has my pictures. I have his.
Yeah, get whatever you need.
I'm looking for my tablet. If it's charged, it may. I hope it's still in the car.
Now remember, Steven's sister said Mark literally showed pictures of him and Steven together. Inappropriate pictures for a sister to see or anybody to see outside of them. But remember that. So he had pictures of Steven and himself together, and he's talking about pictures coming in and stuff. Just very weird.
My back's giving me issues again. Everything's in a disarray.
Is that the tablet up underneath that folder?
Goes to tell you I'm not awake. He has a lot of pictures of me. I have a lot of pictures of him. I can't look at these pictures sometimes. Sorry. And the phone wouldn't even would go right to voicemail.
Well, let me ask you this. Have y'all been arguing here lately?
We did have a little argument back because somebody's been messing around. He has it, and I just changed all my passwords because Craigslist things are coming in that I wasn't doing, and they're still coming in. And now, as of last night,
when you say things were coming in, what kind of things were coming in from Craigslist?
He has my pictures. I have his.
Yeah, get whatever you need.
I'm looking for my tablet. If it's charged, it may. I hope it's still in the car. My back's giving me issues again. Everything's in a disarray.
Is that the tablet up underneath that folder?
Goes to tell you I'm not awake. He has a lot of pictures of me. I have a lot of pictures of him. I can't look at these pictures sometimes. Sorry. I got people.
And what was the argument about?
Mainly, I did go on and I was just talking to him because I was staying due to the fire. These are mainly of him that he sent me. These are mainly of him. These two are me. But he has a lot of pictures of me, and I have a lot of pictures of him.
Let me see.
Yes, sir. The phone that he has is the phone off my service.
Well, let me ask you this. So, is the phone in your name?
Yeah, it's the phone I got him. It's
okay,
a Verizon.
So you bought him the phone?
Well, the phone originally that the car accident I was in, my phone was damaged. They took the phone and gave me a different phone, and because he was getting very bad service, and he's been harassed in this town. They've been messing with his lugs on the car. They've been screwing with his battery.
And when you say they, who are you talking about?
I don't know. The only one that he told me that he made it very clear to me, the guy with the tattoo.
Okay, so this is the second person that we've listened to that has said that people was messing with, his car, his lug nuts, his battery, that kind of thing. So take a note.
Darn it. And I was looking because I threw all my cases out. You guys probably don't know, some of you know, Guns N' Roses. Mm-hmm. Guns N' Roses got the skull tattoo, and then underneath they got the 2 cigarettes, and it says Guns N' Roses. Well, it doesn't say Guns N' Roses, but it's got the 2 cigarettes. I had to remember the tattoo. And that's basically the tattoo that this guy's got, and it's big. it's bigger, but I can't remember where he said it was on the body. He told me that night that he hurt his ankle that we were on Hilton Head Beach. He told me what the tattoo was.
Okay. Let's get back to the argument. When's the last time you argued with him?
I know I was a little upset that he wasn't answering me, but I think it was mainly because
was that earlier in the night? Or was
no,
later?
that was Thursday. That was what I think, Wednesday or Thursday.
Were you arguing prior to that though? Have y'all been arguing prior to that?
I wouldn't say an argument. It was just I seen his Craigslist, and it was mainly what it was he put it up there to show me, his pictures and stuff that I seen, and I told him I wasn't seeing anybody. I was just texting, going back and forth. Well, he says, there's a lot of Craigslist on there. I said, they're not mine. I said, the last Craigslist I posted was a while back. And I said, somebody's screwing around with my Craigslist. I said, because they should all be down. I said, I killed all my stuff once we got serious about it. We were going to get married. I says, if it's still up there, I don't even have the passwords to get in to post anything.
Let me ask you this. Do you do drugs?
I used to. I'm a recovering addict.
What kind of drugs did you used to do?
LSD, acid. I popped a lot of pain pills.
All right. What about Steven? Did he do any type of drugs around you?
He never did it around me, but I know he smoked weed.
Okay.
I know he smoked it because of anxiety, and I smoke weed too, but I haven't smoked it in a while.
Okay.
I'm December 5th, January 5th, February 5th, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. I'm 7 months clean. I've recently.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, all these phone calls that you're saying that you're getting, what are they saying? Besides that, the same thing will happen to you. Is it a male's voice? White, black, Hispanic?
The girls are white. The males, I don't know.
Are they giving you with a group? What are they saying?
There's the guys the one girl, you could hear kids in the background. You could hear there's stuff going on in the background, but the voice is muffled. But you could tell it's a woman.
Have you got any recorded?
I'm still trying to figure out how to record while you're on the phone. That's what I've been trying to.
Have they left you any recorded messages on your voicemail?
No, but I could check that. That was something that I needed to check, because lollipop, don't start eating whatever on the rug, please. I don't have any money to take you to the vet. Believe me. Let's see if there's anything on here, because there should be messages. This is the last message, was 7/4/2015 from Steven, and I gave him some gas money on the 3rd.
On what? The 4th?
This is the 4th.
Okay.
And he didn't leave anything.
Put it on speakerphone.
It is okay. I'm sorry, I didn't even realize it. Because I know, I'll play it back. I didn't realize it.
I'm not worried about what the I just wanted to hear.
I didn't even remember it was here. So this is something I know I played it. Let me try and do this. Now let's play it. Yeah. This phone service funky. You know how to get that to play back?
Let me see.
Scroll it back over with your finger.
Did you shut that phone, David?
Huh?
Just press play.
Go ahead. I'm telling you, that's why I don't drive at this point.
Call back message 226-37.
That's the phone from Steven?
Yeah, that's the person that was calling me, and I don't know who's calling me from that number. That's the person that called that one time. That's his phone.
You write this down.
Hi, this is Elaine. I'm returning your call. I wrote you called last night. Give me a call back, please, with this message.
This number has called you several times.
Yeah, they called, and that originally it comes up. Is that where it says boyfriend?
No.
All right, no, you got to hit boyfriend. The boyfriend is the one.
Okay.
Not that one.
All right.
Sorry.
Linda Lou makes a very good, suggestion. Was he getting drugs from Alex and the boys. That could be a possibility. Or yeah. Or was, I think Alex had, people who worked for him, if you will. So very good, interesting.
So he doesn't say anything.
That's another night that I don't. Look at what the 4th was. Was the 4th
Saturday?
That was the night that I got a call from him. He was out at the boat landing. That's why I went to
Bobcat landing in Bamberg.
That's why, can I see the phone?
Mm-hmm.
That's the night that I did get, let me see something, because if that's the night I believe, yep, it's a Saturday night. That's the night that he was at the boat landing that he came here. And he didn't come here till late.
Let me ask you this question. Have you and Stephen ever been out together and been threatened by anybody?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever threatened Stephen with any harm?
No.
Have y'all ever had any physical fight?
No.
Just a normal argument?
It was just over. The thing that happened was I'm 47 years old. Stephen works a lot. Stephen works a lot and goes to school. And mainly why that was put up there, and he made it very clear to me, because he's working, going to school, and he's seen my pictures. I'm telling you, them pictures I did not put up. So I seen his pictures up there. I was living after the fire with Larry, is where I went yesterday.
And these pictures you're talking about, the ones on Craigslist.
Yeah, I didn't put them up.
On Craigslist, how's it listed on Craigslist?
I don't have a Craigslist.
I mean, but how was it listed? You had to see them.
I don't remember, because it's
Is he using an alias name, or is it?
He ain't using nothing. It was something I don't remember, because the phone and the tablet that he has, and I wonder if I tagged it. I tagged it in my pictures, because I tagged it.
Does the sister still have the tablet?
The sister has the tablet, and that's what let me show you something. Can you come over here?
Yeah.
I said to everybody, the phones, why I'm getting calls from Stephen, let me show you something. Right. And I'm gonna make a point to you, and one of the cops told me no. Bull donkey. I'm gonna prove. I don't know how you could do it, but how do I text myself? Because if somebody let me see something. I'm gonna make a call real quick. I know I don't go out driving at all. He just freaking called me now.
Well, let me ask you this question.
I'm gonna just hold on a second, please.
Hello?
Hey, Bubba. Text me so I could show them something. Just say, hey. Okay, because we got a lot going on with this. People texting me and calling me. Just text me and say, hey. I got to show them that the way this is set up on the tablets and phones, that they go into both systems.
Listen, I'm doing something on the phone right now, because I got to get back to the office for some food boxes and stuff. I'm doing something on the phone right now.
All right. Let me figure out how to get this done.
That's fine. You don't have to, because I'm imagining we'll be talking with you again. Let me ask you this question. You willing to take a lie detector test saying you don't know anything about his death or had anything to do with that death?
I know a lot about what...
I didn't ask you that. Are you willing to
I'm willing to take a lie detector test. This is what I'm trying to show you. The text that goes to my phone...
He didn't answer it immediately.
That's why that tablet is proven to everything. Now, what I know is I feel that the escort agency has something to do with this.
Who is the escort agency?
That's why we need the phone and the tablet. Because he told me when he came Saturday, end quote, that when he came, that I was going to have to get waxed down, everything, and look like a boy. and it was going to be, and I said, I'm not comfortable with father-son deal when we're boyfriend.
I don't believe Steven ever said that to him. I think he may have said that to Steven, but I don't think Steven ever said that to him.
And boyfriend. But there is something going on this Saturday.
Okay.
Where's the escort agency?
That I don't know, because I only learned about this a couple weeks ago. I don't have information on what escort agency, where it is. I know I worked for one way back when, and he said it ain't that one.
Well, let me ask you this. You say you work for an escort agency. Wait, I'm not. Don't try to read in the question. Did you ever give him any idea about trying to work into an escort agency?
No.
Did you give him? Did you talk to him about how an escort agency worked?
No, because he already knew.
Okay. Who, other than you, who else would he may have been seeing?
That's a good question, because according to the sister, he's been seeing other guys, and the father passed a comment when he was walking out. He may be using them for money, and I didn't have the money for him to be using me.
Let me ask you this: have you ever seen him with anybody else?
No, I haven't.
How long have y'all been together?
His birthday is the 29th of January. He was shaking his booty at the club, and he wasn't even 18. So that's probably why that club was closed. Because his birthday is the 29th, and
but what I'm saying, how long have y'all been together?
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was shaking his butt at the club, dancing at the club. I want to say the 26th, 27th.
Which club is this?
It's been closed up. It was in Charleston.
You know the name of it?
I don't remember the name of it. I went there with a friend, and that's when we first met.
So you met him back in January, basically.
When he supposedly was 18, but his birthday is not until the 19th.
Right.
29th, I mean.
So you met him.
And he wasn't even 18, but we didn't do anything because he had to leave.
Okay.
Miss Fletcher, I don't know if you came in just a few minutes ago, but I said this guy sounds and to me acts very much like Andrew.
When did you officially start really going or hanging out with him, going out with him, whatever you want to call it?
Like around my birthday of that year.
When is your birthday?
April 18th, 1968.
So y'all been seeing each other on a regular basis since April, really?
Well, it's been regular, but I didn't get the car. When he could come to me, or I could get anywhere down here, I could get a friend to bring me down towards this area.
How many arguments have y'all ever had?
I say just the one.
And that was just prior to his death, right? That was over the Craigslist.
It wasn't really an argument.
It was a disagreement then.
It was a disagreement. I wouldn't say we fought. I was mainly upset because of the thing, but we weren't like threatening each other. I mean, it wasn't a threat. It wasn't a threatening.
That's not the question I'm asking. I said the argument or disagreement.
But I'm making it clear it wasn't there weren't threats. We were both upset too. Why the pictures are getting put up? Why? And me seeing it. I mean, to be honest with you, when I seen pictures that I've never seen, I was down on my hands and knees crying.
Let me ask you this next question: when the phone call dropped and he was walking, did you ever make a comment or ask him, "Do you want me to come get you?"
I couldn't come get him, and that was what I was saying.
Why couldn't you come get him?
I didn't have enough gas, and he didn't want me to come with the gas that was in the car. I didn't have gas.
Okay. After that, after you dropped the phone, the last text or the last phone call, what was the last thing y'all said to one another?
The last thing he said is, I'm on my way. The text, I'm not sure which one came. I believe it said I'm 30, 40 minutes away.
Did you text him back and say anything?
I believe I did, but I don't.
Okay, what did you say to him?
I don't remember. That's what I'm telling you. Seroquel was already in my body at that point. It was impossible for me to go anywhere, and he knew that.
I'm not.
But I'm saying to you, it was the fact that no gas, the fact that Seroquel was kicking, he knew that.
So if I
Could you wait a minute? I want to get. He was not normal.
And when you say not normal, what do you mean by not normal?
He sounded like he was drugged. He doesn't take drugs. He doesn't drink other than smoke weed. He sounded like he was on something. He played it off to me on the call that I was talking to him a little bit earlier before, all this, that he said to me, end quote, I'm tired. I've been at school and work, and I'm tired. And I says, I believe I said to him, it doesn't sound like tired. And he says, Mark, I'm just tired.
Okay.
I believe if he was drugged and he came here, the house in the back, I don't know if this yellow car, the windows are tinted dark, but there's a yellow car that comes in that goes to the back people in the back.
And what's that got to do with this?
I don't know. If the yellow car that supposedly the sister says he was driving, windows are tinted, then he has been in here to the back.
But as of, he's never been here though.
He's been here, yes, he's been here.
But what's the reason for the yellow car?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. If that's the car that I'm thinking, because I've only seen that car once that I've seen it. When he came here, I didn't see the car.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what car he came in. I assumed even on that date that I went to the house, he was still, because one of the texts and one of the calls that we talked, I asked him, did you get, because he came out to, when I was staying at Red Roof Inn, he came out in the Ford. That was one of the last times I seen him before I went to Larry. And all that stuff coming down with that little disagreement was when I was at Larry's. That tablet is his, and I'm telling you, the shit that's going on is off that tablet. That's why I wanted to show you that, because you can route the phone calls through the tablet, and it can still come up as number.
Well, Mark, let me ask you this. I got some other questions later on. You willing to come in?
I'm willing to do whatever you want. I just can't drive right now.
I'm not asking that right now.
Whatever you want me to bend over backwards, you want me to do whatever you need me to do. I'm telling you, I'm not the one.
Okay.
I don't care what you want me to do.
Okay.
I will do anything you need.
Let me ask you this: do y'all have any mutual friends that y'all were around?
Yes, there's a couple guys in town.
What are their ages?
One of them, I believe, is 18. A couple of them, one of them lives in Walterboro.
Did he ever say he was with any of those that night?
He didn't say anything, but the kid that he took to Swisher C.
So
That's somebody he goes to school with.
Let me start a little timeline here. All right, he died Wednesday morning. Is that correct?
Correct.
So Tuesday, let's say around 6 o'clock. Did you think you talked to him around 6 o'clock Tuesday? Whether by text or phone.
We talked all the time. I mean, you're asking questions. You got to remember, I did heavy drugs and stuff. I'm lucky I can remember some things. It's taking me time just to put a timeline together now. I mean, the drugs I'm lucky I can't even, if I don't put something by the door to go out the door, to go do something, I have to come back 20 times to get it. I mean, I'm putting it straight out to you, straightforward. So you're asking me questions. The phone is going to be more answers that could give you than I can give you on when we text. We text. I mean, I'm being straightforward with you. I'm not gonna tell you something and be caught in a lie because I don't remember when we talked, when we didn't. We were talking and texting all the time, sir. So I don't remember time.
I mean,
it's possible.
Here's the problem I have with it. And I'll go ahead and tell you the problem I have with it is you're able to tell me about all this other stuff that went.
But
let me finish. I'm not asking specific questions. I'm asking for a broad. I'm giving you a broad time. I said approximately. I'm not asking you to say 6:01 or 6:10, and I'm asking specific things that he may have said. But you can tell me what somebody said yesterday, calling you and harassing you, and
because certain things stick in my mind. Yeah, we probably did text. Yes. I mean, I can tell you we text all the time. If we text, yes, I know we were texting.
Let me go ahead and tell you this. If you know anything and you're trying to hide it from me, let me finish. Whether you had anything to do with it or not, understand you can be held just as accountable for it. I mean, if it's somebody you know, some information that
the only thing that I know is when the time that before the fire, and I said this to the sister, the one thing that was said that when I picked up the check for my deposits to the landlord, he, outside his church, he says, you and Stephen are going to burn in hell for being in a gay relationship, and it's sex. Either one of you or both of you. That's the only thing And that night that we were either going to the beach or coming, that we stopped at a gas station, and he was the one just get in the car, Mark, don't engage with him. It's not fucking worth it. We were at, I think it was the Shell going towards.
And what night was this?
It was a Friday night, but I don't remember the date.
Friday night before 4th of July?
Yeah, it was way before the 4th of July. It was the weekend of the fire, and I don't remember what weekend with everything going on.
But you keep talking about this fire. What kind of fire?
It was electrical fire because me and Steven went over to the guy to talk about him working on the house.
How far you were?
This was your previous residence?
Yes, there was the guy was a Mexican. He didn't know what he was doing with construction. There was problems with the other guy putting GFIs in. It rained Sunday morning into Monday morning. I got woken up by my son and the other two kids, and they're saying smoke. The smoke detectors didn't even go off. I guess because of the rain and whatever they were doing. Here, let me show you. The guy was putting these long nails through the walls. Okay, actually, I have it better because I printed it.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, but the fact is, one of the wires, because I had to get my old washer back from a friend and dryer, one of the wires went right through where the wire for the dryer is. And that must have set a lot of issues off. And it started a fire in the house. That was 94.
Can I ask you one thing?
What?
You can remember everything but everything else.
Because you're asking specific things that I can't give you.
But you can be in detail, but where this nail went, what wire it struck, but you can't remember, and this happened
less than a week ago.
Yeah, less than a week ago, and you can't remember last time.
Okay, let me explain it to you. Some of these things, I wasn't on my Seroquel. I wasn't taking my Seroquel. That's the difference that you're asking. When some of these things happen, I wasn't taking my Seroquel. That is the difference that you're asking. The calls and some of the things that he's asking me that night, that's one of the reasons why I couldn't go. You seen when you came in today, up until now. I'm still coming off of it. You could see me when I'm on first thing in the morning. You look at my eyes. They're not bloodshot. They're red from the Seroquel.
So when did you take it? Tuesday? Mm-hmm. When did you take that Tuesday? You took that Tuesday night?
Tuesday.
When Stephen called you?
I took it way before that because he has the habit of calling and saying he's going to come, and he can't come because then he's got to go do something else.
So basically what you're saying, so what you can be telling us now could not be true then, right?
It is true because the texts are going to tell you what it is.
But you say that you can't remember.
I took it about 1 o'clock. It takes an hour or so before it really, or 2 hours or 3 hours before it starts working. Before I totally go out, you're looking at about 4 hours. And then at that point, I'm out for a while. If there's a fire in here, if that fire would have happened when I took my medicine when the kids started going to sleep at 10 o'clock, by 1 o'clock, if that fire would have happened between 1 and, say, 4 in the morning, we would all burnt in hell. Because I cannot physically, I can hear what goes on, whether or not I can't physically get up. The body is like, you're making a face.
Yeah, I am. Because all this stuff that you're telling me is...
Talk to my doctor and you talk.
Well, I don't need to talk to you, doctor. I'm talking to you. You can recall so much from everything else, even when you take your medicine. And then you're telling me, now because we give you like a little bit of timeline, you say you take it at 1 o'clock, and it takes 1 hour, or maybe 2 or maybe 3.
It depends on what medicine I'm taking. I take multiple. All right, listen. If you're trying to run the phone records, it's going to tell it. Take the phone. I'm not going to be ridiculed I'm not going to be ridiculed. I already got the mother telling me and making accusations.
And nobody here has made no accusations. The problem I have with is you're not able to recall things that you say, and that in itself to me is a problem. Okay.
All right, fine. I understand that.
But you're saying you're receiving these phone calls from people who are threatening you from the Cayman Islands. You're saying that you're receiving them from people around here.
I don't know. Did I say around here? I said that they're saying I'm going to die. They're unavailable numbers. How do I know? You see that the phone says the Cayman Islands. All right, but the ones that are unavailable until phone records are pulled, I don't know where they're coming from.
I will say this. I don't have anything else for you. All right? But I will say
If you want to cooperate, continue to cooperate.
I'm cooperating, but
I'm
I'm
not saying you're not cooperating. See, you're jumping to accusations just because we're asking you questions.
I don't have it's not that I don't have answers.
You do have answers.
But I don't know.
Answer it. Wait a second. You say the phone's going to answer it, and I'm good with that. All right. But the problem is some of the.
Do you understand how many times we text?
Doesn't matter. Okay, let me ask you this. I can tell you right now. I can tell you what my wife or anybody, and I text a lot with my wife and my daughter, and I can pretty much tell you. I can't tell you every word that they say, but I can give you the gist of the conversation.
And I can give you that, but
that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking, and I've told you this from the beginning. I'm not asking for specifics. I'm just asking to be general. I come in here telling you timeline, same thing. I'm not asking you.
A lot of the texts are what we're going to do, or can he come by, or do you want me to meet you? One of the texts, and I don't remember exactly whether it was Wednesday night, but I know Tuesday or Monday night, I did text him, and he was coming from school, or was supposed to be. Do you want me to cook you something?
That's all I'm asking for. One of the things I'm asking for on some of these texts, did he say anything while he was walking? Like, there's something suspicious.
He never said he was walking. I said to you, I asked because I heard the tires. Are you walking? His answer to me was no.
Okay. Did he ever say anything suspicious was happening to him? Or
that night?
Yes.
He did say that he felt he was being followed.
Okay. And did he give you any indication? And I'm not, like I said, this is generic. I don't expect.
Well, if you ask specific questions, I'm going to give you what I know.
I have been asking you the same questions I'm asking you now. But
Can I do something?
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead.
All right. The thing I'm asking is, when he said that he felt like he was being followed, did he say, there's a car following me, or I was in a restaurant, or I was at the gas station?
They said he was up there, but he was up at that blinking light up there. He said to me. His family said he was up at the Exxon. He said he was up, and I can't remember. If you go out, like you're going out to Walterboro, sir, there's a four-way blinking light, and there's a store right to the right.
Mm-hmm. Snyder's Crossroads.
Oh, see, I don't know where. He said he was out there. They said he got cigarettes at Exxon.
Now, let me ask you this. Is that where he said he felt like he was being followed at?
Yes, he said that he was being harassed at that store.
By who?
He didn't say. He said it was a couple of guys in the pickup truck. If I call correctly, he said they.
This is very important right here. Very important. He said he was being harassed by two guys at a gas station or a store. No. Yes, exactly, big girl. Exactly.
They were rednecks. But I know.
Did he ever give you a description of the pickup truck? Yeah, he may or may not.
He said it was big and it was tall. He didn't give me a description with the mud tires. But the last time we talked, that night, before the phone went down, and I said to him, "Are you walking or not?" I called him back. Or was that before? I know it.
Exactly. He was at a gas station and didn't get gas. That's strange. Make it make sense.
At one point, I heard mud tires. I heard big mud tires. Big mud tires. And
in other words, when you say you hear
in the background,
you hear them whining, is what you're trying to say? Like,
yeah, I hear the mud tires like they're coming towards him or going past him, because they sounded loud, that they were getting louder. And that, I believe, was the last time I talked to him.
So you didn't ask him what was going on? What are you doing? You asked him what he was doing?
At one point, yes, I did. He said he was coming to me.
No, when you heard there's mud tires, you didn't ask him.
That was
what's
the
going
point.
on? What you doing?
First, I heard a semi, then I heard the mud tires. Right after all that, it went down. The phone went on me.
So he has you on speakerphone?
I don't think so.
So you can hear mud tires while he.
I don't know what he did.
Now I'm asking you, can you hear mud tires while he on the phone while he walking down the highway?
I guess. I mean, I don't know, because I know if I'm walking, you could hear a lot on the phone. It depends on how we have the phone turned
If
up.
he on speakerphone, yeah, but if he ain't on speakerphone, how can you hear?
I don't know. Then I guess it's on speakerphone, but I know I can't. You could hear certain things when I'm walking
How you know there was mud tires?
by the sound of them. You know, like a big truck with big tires, you could hear your.
And how about the semi?
The semi, you could hear it was a semi. My uncle drove semis.
So you can hear it was a semi, then the.
I could identify the two different vehicles. Yes.
You don't remember about what time that was?
I'm not asking you
Just a
specific.
general.
If you give me a minute, I'm trying to put. That was a little bit before. And the call before that, I heard a lot of dogs in the background, like barking. And I don't know where he was at that point. But them tires, and that's why I went out to the scene. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to see because the semi was the first one, and then
you went to the scene.
I went to the scene because I went out to the house because he also told me.
What time did you go to the scene?
The day after the wake.
Oh, the day after the wake.
Because I didn't even know I didn't know until my friends started telling me, you're talking about Stephen Smith. I didn't even know he had passed away or he was hit. I didn't know nothing about this until I was going to go to an NA meeting. And
So if he's your boyfriend and you talk to him every day and you get mad at him because he's not picking up the phone and stuff, you don't know until after the wake that your boyfriend has died? Yes. 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 No, I don't believe that. No, something's wrong there. He went after the wake but doesn't know he passed. Exactly. Something's wrong there. Something is wrong. Okay.
my friend gave me gas to go, and I drove right by the wake. And that's when I drove by, and she asked me again, you're talking about Stephen Smith, 19 years old. That's when I learned this happening.
Okay. Stephen had an alias name, Brian. You ever know him about him using that?
Yeah, that's a killer. I heard about that. I was going to go to an NA meeting. I wanted to see because the semi was the first one, and then
you went to the scene.
I went to the scene because I went out to the house because he also told me.
What time did you go to the scene?
The day after the wake.
Oh, the day after the wake.
Because I didn't even know I didn't know until my friends started telling me, you're talking about Stephen Smith. I didn't even know he had passed away or he was hit. I didn't know nothing about this until I was going to go to an NA meeting. And my friend gave me gas to go, and I drove right by the wake. And that's when I drove by, and she asked me again, you're talking about Stephen Smith, 19 years old. That's when I learned this happening.
Okay. Stephen had an alias name, Brian. You ever know him about
Police just glossed over that one.
Yeah, that's a killer. I heard about that. That's something he uses. Brian. It ain't just Brian he uses. Brian. Is it Brian? Brian something was something he used. Now that you mention it, that jars a memory. Brian. It wasn't just Brian he used on.
Is that the alias name he used for the sex chat rooms and
Craigslist?
The Craigslist? Not the Craigslist, but I don't know about sex chats, but I know about.
Jersey said, didn't he say he went to the wake and told people he was Steven's boyfriend? He's really confusing me. Or did the sister say Mark went to the wake? That's a good question. I don't remember, though, but I remember vaguely. He was at the wake, wasn't he? It's so weird, man.
Escort agent, but it wasn't just Brian. I gotta really think about that one. there was something else. Brian, I want to say Brian something, but it wasn't just Brian. Brian wasn't Brian Brown, but there was something else added to that to use for the escort agency.
But what's the escort agency you have for?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna get that. It's Ashley's escort agency.
Ashley, where at?
She's at Hilton Head.
And Hilton Head?
Yeah. My phone will take a minute. I don't know which one he was using, but I know we were supposed to go do something this Saturday, and it was supposed to be the whole weekend. He was going to take off school and everything.
I would probably say,
if it has to do with anything, but what I'm going to tell you is what I know, and I know.
That's exactly it, Jesse Lynn. He told his sister, Stephen's sister, that Stephen was beat to death, then asked her if Stephen was assaulted. That is correct. Which we heard that in the previous interview, Stephen's sister.
Enough of enough. His sister, when it was like he was going to do anything, like I showed one of the officers, like if you go on Craigslist and you just go out, clear out, like if you're an officer and you're talking to me and I say I need money to perform a service, that's an automatic go to jail card. An automatic, there's a lot of noises that drive me nuts around here right now. A go to jail card. I know that he told me the sister will do the calls and work a lot of it.
This is his twin sister?
Yeah, the little one. And I know very well there's a lot of things that bother me that I back myself out of the house. Let me get what I got for you. Because I haven't worked for her in a while. Ashley. It should be under something else. No, it's gotta be here. Ashley. I know her. This is it here. She gives me. Yeah, this is it here. This is the escort. It doesn't have the escort thing, but this is her number. But a lot of the
Yes,
times.
ma'am. How are you?
Right. My name is Wendy.
Mark Bridget. He's a client of ours. You got here?
Yes, Glenn. Okay. That's that number.
Hey. There you go. Hey.
So as far as last time you was working the escort service, how long ago was that?
5 years ago. I don't want to get involved in y'all. He called and said that
We're not accusing him, and he hasn't been read rights.
No.
This is just an interview with him.
Okay, so I can.
Yes, ma'am. This is not any accusations or anything like that.
He called and said that he was experiencing some kind of meltdown. He called the office a few minutes ago and got the case manager kind of alerted. So
Yeah, because I'm trying to get into those therapists because I got a lot of.
Yes, Alex was involved with escort.
Okay, well, I'll try to see if I can get you an appointment.
Okay.
I'm at my office. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Go ahead. What were you asking?
When was the last time you had any dealings with Ashley's escort service?
I called her a couple times, but they weren't willing to use me anymore because they weren't using males down that way.
Okay. Let me ask you this: could it have been of your age, possibly because of your age?
Probably because a lot of them is my age. And a lot of the guys, if it's me, want me totally shaved down. Any of the kids, the younger kids, I hate to say it, and it's sick as a fucking could be. If they're 19 or if they're 25 or 36, they want them looking like boys.
Let me ask you this.
And
go ahead. No.
I'm giving you what I know. Okay. You want to know about them? 90% of it, and I'm not saying any of you.
What's that, Vic girl? You want me to rewind that?
At my office. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Go ahead. What were you asking?
When was the last time you had any dealings with Ashley's escort service?
I called there a couple times, but they weren't willing to use me anymore because they weren't using mails down that way.
Okay. Let me ask you this: could it have been of your age, possibly because of your age?
Probably because a lot of them is my age. And a lot of the guys, if it's me, want me totally shaved down. Any of the kids, the younger kids, I hate to say it, and it's sick as a fucking could be. If they're 19 or if they're 25 or 36, they want them looking like boys.
Let me ask you this.
And
go ahead. No.
I'm giving you what I know. Okay. You want to know about them? 90%, and I'm not saying any use. 90% of these guys that are using the escort agency are guys that have money, and they're usually older, and they're looking for guys that look like kids.
Now, you don't know if he was working with an escort agency.
I know he was because he told us.
But it wasn't Ashley.
No, I know it wasn't Ashley.
Sure
yes, well, he said no. I mean, when I asked him, was it, and I showed him the number, he told me no.
Okay.
But Ashley does all over, so it's possible.
So it's possible that.
It's possible, but he looked right at me and said no.
Did he ever give you a name of the escort service he may have been working?
No, he never gave it to me.
Okay.
And I mean, he sometimes gave me names, but I'm really bad with names.
Yeah, that's a good question. Are there any other escort agencies that he may be using?
I mean, they're all over the place.
What's some names of?
I don't know. I mean, I'm wanting to go on the thing right now, but the way I am, I don't know. What you have to Google is Google.
That's all right. I mean,
Google escort agency, Google male escorts, and they're gonna pop a lot of things, and then a lot of them numbers are being killed. A lot of them, because Ashley's number may not be actually active, because I know one of the reasons why she stopped using males, the reason why we use escort agencies, all right, Craigslist is entirely a no-no a lot of times. People are getting killed. An escort agency, how it works is if I go out on a job, all right, once I get to my destination, I call there. They know I'm there. Once I go in and meet with the customer, because they got to pay you up front. No matter what, at any point there's a problem, I back myself out. The customer already knows that. I got to go somewhere once I get my money, put it wherever I'm going to put it, tell her whether we're going to stay there, move to another location. If I move to another location or they want to move me, I got to call the escort agency. That's the difference about using an escort agency and doing a freelance. Freelance, you're going to wind up somewhere dead. Okay. I'm telling you, if this has to do with freelance, that could be why. But I know whatever going on has to do with a club. We're going to go to a club, but I know the club he was dancing at closed. I thought he said.
Has he been to any other clubs that you know of?
Yes. Like I said, I don't remember the name. He said it's one that does, but from my worst memory, I thought he said that the one that he went through, and now I remember there is another one that will let him in, because there's another one. That one closes by midnight. The other one that we were talking about going, he can only go in with me, and that closes at 1 a.m. And I'm trying to remember for the worst of me what night we were asking.
Well, let me ask you one more other thing then, pretty much. As far as Stephen goes, though, he never specifically told you he was doing any of that, as far as you know.
Go to the Pacific, what, your escort agency?
Whether he's doing it freelance or through an escort agency.
He's been doing it both ways.
So you know that he's been doing it both ways?
Yes.
All right.
You want me to tell you why?
What I'm going to do is basically, you got some pretty decent information.
But I'm going to tell you why. He said, and he did lie about this, he said he was living with Mama. And he said the money that he's making off this is helping his mother. Now I come to find out he's living with Dad.
Okay.
So there is a little bit of fibbing there.
Okay.
But I'm going to say one other thing before you go to what.
Sandy said in an interview that he would, because Stevens, he did not come from money whatsoever. They really struggled. And Sandy would say from his work, she didn't know, I don't think all of this was going on, but from his work, he would basically, help out the family, pay the bills and stuff. So Mark is saying there's fibbing going on, but I mean, I do believe Stephen helped out.
You're going to go, he did not want me in Hampton City. He did not want me in Hampton. He wanted me in Somerville or Waterville. He didn't even want me in Waterville. He wanted me in Somerville.
Okay.
And he said that things were going to come down if I was here. And we've been seen in town hugging and kissing. The night that I came.
What does that mean? He said things are going to go down or come down if we are seen in this town together. What does that mean?
Out was a Sunday night. And I'm trying to remember when my little trust went in because I don't think my checks were in Baltimore. He wanted me in Somerville.
Okay.
And he said that things were going to come down if I was here. And we've been seen in town hugging and kissing. The night that I came out was a Sunday night. And I'm trying to remember when my little trust went in because I don't think my checks went in because I pulled money out of Bank of America because I know that he needed money for his uniforms. His sister said, this is, I believe, what is this? This is the Cayman Islands.
So he needed money and they're hugging and kissing. However, he did not know Stephen was dead until after his funeral. But his sister said that he was at the wake. Something's wrong.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Yeah, hi, is Mark available?
Yes?
Is this him?
Yes?
Perfect. My name is Sandra, and I'm calling with the law offices of Lexington Law Firm. How are you doing today?
Yes, ma'am. What could I do for you?
I just wanted to go over.
I can't deal with that. Ma'am, I can't deal with that now.
Okay, well, is there a time maybe a little bit later you can
Tomorrow, ma'am. I told you I didn't have the money for it. Okay?
Okay,
It's
do you
really...
have our telephone number to give us a call back at here, Mark?
Yes, I have your number.
All right, perfect. Give us a call when you can, okay?
All right. I'll miss you something. They're almost exactly the same numbers. I'll miss you something. And it would be because it comes up Cayman Islands. 3, 4, 4.
Hope you got anything else?
Mm-mm.
Y'all go ahead. I'll be right outside.
All right.
Marty, is there anything else that you think you can think of?
I have a big issue with the system.
That's fine. I'm not worried about that. Like I said, we are dumping the phone. I mean,
I have no issue with that. You want this phone?
No, that's fine. If I need it, I'll get it from you.
I'm trying to see something because I'm trying to see the number for the Cayman Islands.
All right, basically what I'm going to do is just conclude the interview.
I can tell you, no, it is a different number.
Okay.
It is a different number. He was the one that told me the last thing, if you want to keep it recording.
I've got it.
He told me the first time that I did pick him up the first night, he says that I love you, I want to be with you, but when you need to get your stuff straightened out to a place of living, and I need to get a few things straightened out in Hampton.
Okay.
But he did say to me, and he said once I can graduate, he wanted to move back to Florida.
Okay. All right.
I'm telling you, man.
That's fine. No, that's fine.
I'm telling you, man to man, that if it has to do with me, I'm not knowing.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, I was here.
And I'm not trying to accuse you of that, but some of the things that that's why the frustration sets in as far as you can remember this, but you can't remember that.
Because you got to understand, I got a lot of brain injuries.
Okay.
And you're trying to hit me with things just to get a timeline. I mean, I hadn't think because I'm thinking in my head that these calls are coming in Thursday morning.
I got you.
And I really had to look and and ask my friend because you're banging me on dates and times. I had to call my friend and ask him, was this Wednesday morning or was this Tuesday morning? So when we went to Waterboro, because in my own little head, I got a lot of brain injuries. And I'm telling you what I know. But when you start, to me, digging a lot of information, I go in a major...
Let me explain that digging information is. That's all for your behalf and mine and his.
But and I understand that. But you got to understand, I get overwhelmed and hit real quick. If I come up with anything...
Let me go through this, and then I've got to go because I've got one other place to go to. If I have any more questions, may not.
whatever you need, I'm willing.
Okay.
You want me to take a lie detector test? I'm telling you,
Okay.
I'll do it. Let's do it. Set it up.
Okay.
Let's do it because I'm telling you, I didn't do this.
And that's what if it comes to that, we'll get together on that.
Listen, you want to do a cavity search, whatever you need, I'm willing.
Okay.
I will go to the end of the earth for him. But I'm telling you, man to man, I did not kill him.
Okay. All right. Mark.
But can I ask a question?
Yes.
Until this is proven, she's saying I'm stalking her. The problem I got with that is when I got a text and a call from one of my friends that we all know, said to me that she just called back after you left and she left the clerk up there at the shell and asked where you were going, what the guy told you that you know, where you're going and what do you do. I got an issue with that. I don't stalk the woman.
If you start running into a situation like that,
I asked the officer. I called dispatch last night. I'm feeling that I backed off going out to that area because I was by the Piggly Wiggly and I knew there was an officer not too far. You gotta remember, I'm an ex-gangbanger.
I understand.
And I get a sense feeling to what I'm feeling. The mother was staring at me at the.
Well, if you start having issues with it, just go back up there and.
He says the mother was staring at him, and Sandy says she was out and he was following her, staring at her. So they're both contradicting each other.
And they'll take out whatever they need to do. They'll write up the paperwork, and you can get this stopped. Okay. So,
I feel, and these little unavailables, I feel they're coming from the system.
Okay.
The system.
We're gonna be speaking.
What do you need from Verizon?
Oh, I don't need it. I've already got everything I need. I mean, we get a search warrant for it and all.
All right.
So you don't have to.
So you know that's my phone that I got.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I have. You want to search? You want to search the house? Go ahead and do
Nope,
what you gotta do.
No.
I'm telling you.
Like I said,
you want to search the car? Search the car.
Right now.
I have no issue with whatever you want to do.
And like I said,
I'm not the one you're looking for.
Right now, you're the closest thing though that we can get information from.
Because I mean, whether he's close, but he told me to watch out for his sisters.
I understand.
But what I'm heard about mostly is I loved him. I was in love with him. And he said that the family would accept me no matter what. And I'm hurt by what the mother's doing.
Okay.
And that's mainly what's bothering me.
I understand.
And I am insecure being here because I got to, at some point, bring my son here. And I don't know that that's a good idea at this point.
I understand. All right. Well, I will be getting back in touch with you if you need anything.
I mean, anything you need, guy, I have. I mean,
that's fine.
I moved here because of Steven. So we could be closer.
Okay.
Why would the fuck I kill him?
I understand. Nobody's accusing you of that.
But the mother is going around town saying it.
People go around saying a lot of things a lot of times. You have to understand.
But you understand she's grieving like I am.
I know. I understand it.
I understand she's a grieving mother. But I deal with.
That's why I will tell you, just back away. Don't say anything. You know.
One thing I thought of. You might want to put that on. One thing I thought of is that trailer that the first time when I got my car and we met, and this is why even making calls, I could call somebody and talk to them for 20 an hour and stuff, hang up and remember something. That's why I say brain injuries. He told me the time that we had the altercation coming from the beach. It was coming from the beach because I had to get gas in the Lincoln.
Right.
He said about the trailer because that was the trailer. I went out to the house. I wanted to look
gas
at
in that Lincoln.
what he was telling me. Because when I went to bed at night, there's that trailer next to the property, there's a sign of him going in the window. And apparently when he was in high school, like not senior year, but one of the years before, he didn't give me a time frame.
Sometime in high school.
Sometime in high school, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. That
he went in that trailer with one of the guys. And there was an altercation in there, and the father put him going in there. Apparently, there may still be stuff of his in there.
Okay.
That was why I went out. But I just went out to see. I went to look at tracks in and out of there. Okay. I'm assuming one of your officers went to back. But that trailer, the one with the picture, I can't remember for the world of me what he said about that 60. Another thing, why I can think of it, there were people mocking him every time his Craigslist went up.
Mm-hmm.
There was something that he did put up that I did see, and I did call him and text. I think called him. I don't want to go into. I text him.
Right, I understand.
I mean, because you
communicated with him.
We communicated. I don't know if it's call or text, because a lot of times I'm not a big texter.
Right.
I mean, so a lot of times I will try and text him. Not to get off track. He said to me, "Oh, darn it, I just lost it." He said to me about that they said that he raped the kid, but the kid was on top of him. Steven was mostly a bottom. And he said when the first time that we were at my house at 94, he says, I never topped. You're the second man that I have done this with. I'm usually always a bottom and do all
5150. Somebody call the po-po.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well,
the age difference, I know.
I'm not worried about that age difference. What I'm telling you is because I actually got to go do another one. I will contact you back and if
I was at the funeral home. I was getting bad vibes from the mother's friend. He did tell me that the two barn girls, they always try to mess up his boyfriend and stuff.
You hear what he just said? I left the funeral home because I was getting bad vibes from his mother. You just said, Mother Fletcher, that you didn't know he died until after the funeral. I mean, not to be disrespectful here, but did you think he was alive at the funeral? I mean, hello? I mean, oh, God. What is wrong with this dude? I can't anymore. The house is the same as the mother, one of the two suspects. I mean, yes, he did say that. He paid attention to the mocking. Exactly. Red flags. He misspoke. Yeah. Yes. I mean, feels like Andrew all over again. You know, it's like, God bless America. My cheeks are redder than, well, I mean, they're blush, but they're red. So my blood pressure is up. All right, guys. I need to go, like, chill after that. Can you find where this dude is, Justin? Of course I can. He probably won't do an interview or anything, but I'll check. Listening as I cook. Sister said he's at the wake the day before the funeral. Was he just napping? Exactly. What did he say or mean by 1994? Don't know. So Steven's sister has a kid with the shady. I've heard that. Yes. He'd just be like, I mean, I don't know what's his problem, but it's crazy. It's crazy. That's all I know. All right, guys, I got to jump off here. I'm going to try to come back tonight. We might have a special guest, either Miss Daisy or Sherry, who is on Miss Daisy's. She might be here with her helmet on and, you know, smoking out of her bong. Do we know if Mark ever took a lie detector? I don't know if he did. That they asked him if he did, but I don't know if he did or he didn't. Another one that can't remember or tell time. Yes. All right. All right, Nosy. Thank you all. I appreciate you being here. God bless each and every one of you. Please do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up. Listen, Stephen deserves justice. We are not going to stop until justice comes for him. And I think it's sooner. I think it's been 8 years. He deserves it. His family deserves it. his autopsy. I wanted to go in his autopsy and stuff more today, but we didn't have time for that. We got a lot more to talk about with this case, but at least we are finally hearing these interviews. So I want to give a special thanks out to Fitz News. Got great stuff over there. Independent news station, local to the to South Carolina. They know all things Murdaugh. I am a paid subscriber over there. It's just a few bucks a month. If you can support them, please do that and subscribe to their YouTube channel. Really love them. Follow them on Twitter as well. Appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you. Hopefully, I'll see you guys maybe in a couple hours. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.